All right, now y'all should be able to hear everybody all the way around. Sorry about that. We had to switch our sound mixer here this morning. We were doing a little bit of tinkering once we got everyone loaded up, and our sound mixer had a little bit of a delay. It wasn't lining up with the audio, so I was like, let's just switch over to our old sound mixer real quick, and then we'll be good to go. So that's what we did. Nevertheless, friends, hey, thanks for being here. Sorry we started. We're getting a bit of a late start, but I think we'll have a lot of fun as we usually do. And for those who didn't, I apologize because the sound mixer was still getting loaded up. For those who didn't get to hear Snitch's background, Snitch, what is your background for those who haven't been introduced to your channel yet?
Hi. I'm currently pursuing a master's in physiology. All of my opinions are my own. Just have to say that because I work at the university. Um, but I have a good in-depth knowledge on evolution and abiogenesis. Um, I would say in the community, I'm more well known for like my little free document, sources for discussion. It's just got a bunch of links to studies for evolution and abiogenesis.
Very good. And we've got a link on the screen for those who don't have TikTok but want to join the discussion. It's tiny.cc/UA guest. And if you're on TikTok, you can just hit the guest request button. If you want to talk about physics today, deepest apologies, our physics guru is not with us today. So Dr. Blitz
Mhm.
is currently traveling. We're not going to have Dr. Blitz. We can do our best. Like we can fumble around maybe a little bit and talk about some physics, or the wave function. Perhaps Ian can
Yeah.
tackle.
I'd be
But
happy to make some shit up for you.
yeah, for real.
Yeah. I can string together some physics sounding words. It's the
Yeah.
best I can do.
Nevertheless, today's going to be a full day. Ian, are you streaming at all later today?
No.
Okay.
No, this
Okay.
is this is my plan today, and then I have some coursework to finish up. This is this is my plan for the day.
Oh, not bad then. Okay.
What about you?
Well, I'm obviously here. We'll be doing this debate with y'all, and then for this I've got AXP, which should be a lot of fun, and then I've got After Dark. So today is going to be like the make Justin regret that he agreed to everything day.
Yeah, geez, that's like a full day. It's like packed.
It's gonna be a real thing. Anyways,
Yeah.
let's join up
I feel like
on
I feel
TikTok
like there's a
before we
delay between
forget.
us.
What's that?
Justin, I think there's a delay between us.
Oh, that could be. Hold on a second. Let me open the guest box.
What kind of coursework are you working on, Ian?
I want to do a philosophy grad school. So I'm taking like a course at like a CC because I didn't do any undergrad philosophy work. Um, and I'm just going into office hours. I'm the only one who goes into office hours, so I just get to yap with the professor for a while. And he's getting me like connected. I'm now like an academic philosophy social climber. So I'm out here making all sorts of connections to all sorts of people. It's a lot of fun.
That's exciting.
But the coursework, I just have like some. It's pretty easy. Just have like some discussion board posts, and then like a midterm.
That's awesome. I always love it when people come to office hours because it gives me something to do. Um,
Yeah,
at least from the perspective of like a not professor, but like assistant professor, basically.
yeah. Um, I think that makes sense. Otherwise, you probably just like chill out.
Yeah, I usually just study. But yeah, I'm pretty much just working on my thesis all day.
Yeah. What are you doing your thesis on?
So I study, I think I told you, pancreatic cancer associated cachexia.
Hmm.
Um, and so right now I'm writing a thesis on specifically a condition that's known to occur with cachexia called myosteatosis. And it's not very well understood, so I'm in charge of trying to figure it out.
I see. That sounds exciting. Are you
That's like
doing like
really.
specific experiments or?
Yeah, so I finished up with my first aim, which is really just like a lot of data skimming. Um, so I've been going through like 3 RNA-seq data sets, which, if you know what RNA-seq is, it's like 35,000 rows of data.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah, I'm sure it's probably tough to find what you're looking for there. Or you probably do it like automated or
Oh, unfortunately, I can't do automated. Just because it's in like, if you've ever done like Command F on like an Excel sheet,
yeah.
it like, you can't sort it by specific things in like a column. In a column, you have to sort it by the whole column itself,
Oh,
or
that's
like
right. Yeah.
whole like cell value. So I've been like making notes, going down, and yeah, it's just a lot of stuff.
Yeah. It sounds kind of tedious, but I don't know. If did you say that you're like done with that?
No, I'm like, I would say halfway through. So right now I've got like my first aim kind of sorted. Um, and right now I'm working on my second and third aim. Once I have everything sorted out and hopefully published, I really hope to make like some more content on it, because like
Hmm.
I'm so excited to talk about it, but I'm like doing everything I can to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I don't know. It sounds exciting. It sounds very important.
Yeah.
It is it. There's no current treatment for cachexia, which is like the really big thing. Um, so yeah, I'm
Hmm.
really excited to help.
Hmm. Sure. Whoa, this home slice person is having like a full-on meltdown in the comment section.
Home.
Dude,
I,
he's had a meltdown over abiogenesis for as long as I've been on live. He even
Jeez.
follow me around.
Well, I've never
well,
seen him before, so it makes you wonder.
well, we have one guest waiting to get in and that is not melting down, Solomon. So let me grab Solomon, and then after that, it looks like Tanner, and we'll get some conversations started here. All right, Solomon's loading up.
Should I request into the TikTok version of this?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like
Go ahead
meet
and
my
request up into TikTok, and we'll get you loaded so everyone sees your live. Give me just 1 second here. Let me make Solomon audible for the rest of the crew here. One second. I greatly apologize. I forgot to make the TikTok guest audible to everybody. All right, we should be able to hear Solomon now.
Yeah, testing, testing. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. How you doing, Solomon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. How about you guys doing?
Doing well.
Doing well.
Solomon, are you at least 18?
Yeah,
All right, and do you believe in God?
yes, I do, of course.
Sure. Well, which one? Is that a chimp in the background?
Yeah,
Sure
sorry,
sounded like it.
I own a lot of. Sorry,
This is. I wonder if this is like a
sorry,
troll.
I own a lot of animals. Sorry about that. So you got in my room.
Sure.
Sorry
Okay.
about that.
All right
Caesar,
then.
go back there. Go. No, close the door. Close it,
What
Caesar.
species of
Caesar, close it.
This is something that you
Caesar
don't
is
see
an
every day.
incredible name for a monkey.
what uh what species is Caesar?
Hey, sorry. Yeah, he's a chimpanzee.
Oh. Well,
Yeah.
what?
I own dogs
This has
and
to
birds and guinea pigs.
and chimpanzees?
Yeah, and sometimes we get deer in the back garden, but they come and go.
You
Cool.
have to be like trolling, right? Like you don't have like a pet chimpanzee.
No,
No,
I
I
heard
mean,
it.
I can I can turn my camera on if you want to see him.
I'm not sure we not sure we need all that. How about we start with the usual questions, which is, what would be a good argument or piece of evidence for the God that you believe in?
Sorry, could you say that again, please? You're breaking up.
Yeah, what would be a good piece of evidence or an argument for the God that you believe in being real?
Yeah. So one piece of evidence that we have are miracles and prophecies. I think that would
Okay.
be the strongest, strongest case for you guys today. Excuse me, if that's okay.
That's fine. I think we can address both of them. It's up to you which one you want to tackle first. We'll let you decide on that.
Yeah,
But
sure.
um,
I
what do
mean,
you think is the
yeah.
most convincing?
Well, let's start off with one of the miracles. Coco, Coco, no, get down, Coco. Coco, no, get down. No,
Was that a tiger?
leave it, Coco. Put it
He's
down, Coco.
trolling. It's like
This
obvious.
gotta be a troll,
That has to
right?
be a troll. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this guy's living in like a. That
That
is, I do
Okay,
like that. That is
sorry, I'm
fun.
back. Sorry, I'm back now.
did Coco eat the chimp?
No. He was trying to get up on the bed. I told him not to, but
It, it,
he loves coming on the bed.
is Coco a tiger?
No, no, he's a German Shepherd.
Your German Shepherd? You have a
Mm.
German Shepherd trying to eat the chimps?
No, he's trying to come on my bed.
Mm.
He's
So
growling
yeah,
at you?
I kicked all the animals. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't like it when I try to kick him out of the bed. You know,
Oh
it's
shit. Okay.
yeah. Have
Well,
you guys got dogs?
I sure do, but nevertheless. So what do you think is convincing in regard to the miracles and prophecies?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so if I'm not sure if you guys heard about the event that happened in I think it's 1914. It was witnessed by thousands of people. Um,
Mm.
Ah,
Jessica, shush.
Yeah, it's just that he's just
Jessica.
trolling.
yeah, it's definitely a troll now. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, we got that one
yeah.
settled.
That was
Damn.
weird.
The chimp was one thing, the dog was another. Once they started all making love together, it was, obviously a troll.
Yeah, it's so weird that he was talking about like the miracle of Fatima, but it's that's such a weird thing to know about, and then also just come on and troll.
Yes. Especially with that particular sound effect. That's not the sound effect you would expect to hear while talking about the miracle of the sun. So, I guess they
Mm.
were doing their own miracle at that moment. Nevertheless, we we had another guest in the guest box. They left. I think we might have another guest coming. Oh, no, we don't have another guest coming up on our YouTube queue, but we do have one super chat from our friend Miko. Good to see you, Miko. Let me get that pulled up here, and I think from Star as well. Sorry that we're getting a late start. We should have some guests populating here in just a moment, and we'll get some hopefully some real conversations happening. 1 second. There we go. I just need to
I
enable
didn't know
this.
you could own Citadel.
Oh no, what?
I didn't know you could own a zoo.
Actually, now that you mention it, in Zanesville, Ohio, this is about a decade ago, there was a guy that had like a backyard zoo, and the animals got loose. He got in a lot of trouble. It was
Yeah,
bad.
no
That's
kidding.
Welcome to Ohio. Miko, my friend, thank you for the super chat. Doug, Jesus, Allah, Buddha, I'll love you all if you make the good people of Clacton vote for Lord Binface and not Nigel Farage. This must be some UK politics. Um, what
Yeah, it's
about
well, it's I mean at this point it's gone international. It's like really funny that Nigel Farage just running against a dude who has like a trash can for a face.
oh shit? What about do we still have Vermin Supreme running for office? Is that still a thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He,
He's like a
he's got
reoccurring.
he's got my vote for sure. I vote
Yeah.
for Vermin Supreme. Free ponies for everybody. Star Giants, Star Glints says, love you guys. Ian, if agents have a right to freedom and well being, is retributive imprisonment immoral?
No, because the right to freedom and well-being is prima facie. So it's you have the right to to freedom and well-being to the extent that it's universalizable without a contradiction. So you have a level of freedom and well-being such that everyone can consistently have the same level of freedom and well-being. You can't have the freedom to infringe on other people's freedoms because people couldn't consistently have this. So there are still like carve outs for things like imprisonments and stopping people from interfering with freedom and well being.
Fair enough. Although I would imagine too, like if somebody is preventing somebody else from having freedom and well being, then like the only remedy is to prevent that person from having their freedom and
Yeah.
well being, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like at that point you forfeited your right to freedom and well being if you're like going around interfering with other people's freedom and well being.
Right. Right. Also, super chat from our friend Heathen Reason says, "Oh, we had it, and then we double clicked it. What in the Doctor Doolittle was that?" Well, I think that you described it accurately, actually. Well, how did we get a live restriction already? We just start TikTok. You're the worst.
Yeah,
Live
what a great app.
restricted. Why? It just says community guidelines. Which community guidelines did we violate this time? Uh,
Did you put the appeal?
it didn't even let me appeal it. Might have to do a TikTok reboot here in a second.
God, that shit's so stupid.
Probably the very strange animal noises.
I
Yeah, that's
think
what
it
I'm thinking.
was the last of the animal noises, the one that was kind of a call of the wild there. Hunter Girl, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. At least you guys aren't subjected to the idiocy of Victor Marx. I'm off to ride a motorcycle for a while. Hell yeah. But here's some money for the cause. Argue well, rock up for Doug and some up for Sharon. I don't know Victor Marx. Is that somebody I should know?
I don't know. I don't know
I
this
better
person at all.
I better check into Victor Marx. Uh, but I mean, I don't know if Victor Marx is bad, but I do know this. We did have a changing of the guard here in the U.S. in terms of politics recently today. And Base to Share, thank you for the $10 super chat. I accidentally gave my Christian son a crisis of faith last night. Well, Ashera, it's not hard. We talked about fulfillment versus abolishment. Jesus chastising Pharisees over the law of Moses and keeping it. It was intense. Well, that's the thing is, if you like actually think the words of Jesus are important, and most Christians would say that they are important, it's hard to get around the idea that he was a Judaizer. Jesus believed that you needed to follow the laws of Moses, which is like a huge problem for Christians because like half of the religion is based on, oh, you don't got to follow this shit anymore. So it's kind of a problem based to Shara, and I can see why he would be struggling with it for sure. But we've
Oh no,
got
it.
mhm.
Oh, I was gonna say I looked into Victor Marx. Apparently, he's the Republican candidate for Colorado, so he's gonna get completely fucking obliterated, crushed beyond his wildest dreams.
Oof, that's not gonna end well. Let's get Sermon Slaughter in here. I that's a one heck of a name.
Yeah,
Well,
look, I'm excited.
let's see what we get here. How you doing, Sermon Slaughter? Sermon?
Too blessed. Stress. Can't worry about the rest. How y'all doing?
We're doing. Sermon Slaughter, are you at least 18?
Yeah, I am 30, 34. I forget sometimes.
Fair enough. And do you believe in God?
I believe, yes, Jesus, and I know.
You're not a believer, you're a knower.
I'm a knower, man.
Sure thing. How do you know that the God of the Bible and Christianity is real?
Hey, man, can I answer with a scripture?
I mean, we don't believe that scripture is from God, so it's kind of useless, but you can try.
Hey, man, glory be to God. So Romans 1 says this exact thing right here. Let me get to it real quick.
That God is
Okay.
evident in the creation, and that people that don't believe in God are just denying the truth and unrighteousness.
Man, that's almost a sum of it, but it's pretty close. Yes, sir. For the
Aren't there
wrath
other
of God is
places
revealed
where
from
aren't there
heaven
other
against
places in the
all.
Bible, like in John, that it just says explicitly that there are people that don't know that God exists? Like, isn't this just a direct contradiction with other places in Scripture?
Hmm.
No, it doesn't say that in John or anything like that. It says it in Romans. It
In
also says it in the same
Proverbs,
book,
it
but
says
it
that
doesn't.
a
It doesn't
fool
say that
says
they
there's no
don't know it. It
God.
says they could.
Also, it
Right.
does say in Second Thessalonians chapter 1 that there are some who don't know God.
Okay.
Awkward.
And that would go a lot. That would go right along with this, right?
No, not if Romans is suggesting that the atheists actually do know God, they're just denying it.
Well, pull the scripture out in Thessalonians and read it verbatim.
Yeah, sure.
Gotcha. First Thessalonians, Second Thessalonians.
Second Thessalonians chapter 1. Also,
Gotcha.
well, we can, there's other passages too, but in chapter 1 of Second Thessalonians, and I'll put it on the screen so you don't have to take my word for it. It's going to be
Amen.
about the coming judgment of your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and the fiery flame in which he's going to inflict on the non-believers for the crime of not being convinced, all that stuff. Let's see
Right.
if we can get all of this on the screen, though. It's a little bit big. Hold on a second. Let me shrink it down. There we go.
You said First Thessalonians 1.
Second Thessalonians chapter 1.
Okay, Second Thessalonians. Okay, guess I'm there.
Yeah. No. It says, for it is indeed just of God to repay with affliction those who afflict you, and to give relief to the afflicted as well as to us, when the Lord Jesus is revealed from heaven with his mighty angels in a fiery flame, inflicting vengeance on those who do not know God.
Amen.
Oh, so some people don't know God then, it would seem.
No, and it in the context it does not say that they do not know, they do not have a relationship with God.
Well, it says no.
Right. They don't have a relationship with God. If you don't have a relationship, you don't know him. Just as well he said he doesn't know you.
But you
Well,
can
And
not.
wouldn't God always know because he made everything?
I think you kind of missed the point. If
I
you
think
don't
you
know
are
God,
too.
you that means you don't believe in God.
So think about this. In the Christian worldview, God made everything, correct?
I mean, in the Christian worldview, God made most things. He didn't make the primordial water, though, in Genesis.
Okay. In the Christian worldview, it says everything was made by God. This is in three, four different passages of scripture that I can go to right now. I know there's more, but it says
It's
everything
like
was made by God. And let's just use this then. He says he made us. In the Christian worldview, would you agree with that? He said he made us. He made us.
he made mankind according to the Bible. Yeah.
Amen. Glory be to God. And he says also that he will say he doesn't know you. How can he make you and don't know you?
Well, he doesn't know you because in like the idea of knowing, he's saying we don't actually have familiarity with each other. So like
Oh wow. So
it
God can say
says
that, but
it says that he'll deny you, right, if you are essentially a fake believer. But also,
Amen. Glory be to God.
but
So
also like
wouldn't that be the same if we deny him that we don't know him?
you could translate it that way. You could definitely take it that way. But the problem you have is there's a lot of passages that talk about people who don't believe in God. So this isn't going to be like get you to the goal that you want. So for example, in John 3:18. Those who believe in him are not condemned, but those who do not believe are condemned already. So if you don't believe in God, that
Amen.
means you don't have a belief in God. You're atheist.
Amen. I would agree. So can we go back to Romans 1 would
So,
explain why they don't
So it's a
believe?
contradiction.
well, they don't believe in God because there's no good reason to believe in God.
There is if we read the Romans 1. Let me
Well,
read it for us.
that's what we're
Romans
waiting
1,
for is the evidence.
18.
What's the evidence?
Amen. We I never got the chance to read it. We went to Thessalonians, but now let's
Wait,
run back. Romans 1,
are you
start
suggesting that Romans is the
starting in verse
evidence?
18. If you let me read it, you will see very clearly it's the evidence.
Is
Romans 1,
is
starting
reading
verse
the
18.
Quran evidence of the Islamic faith, or like that Islam is true?
If it matches up to our actual truth that we can see, then actually I would say yes, but it doesn't. So if you
Oh
let me read
shit!
it, we would
I
clearly be
bet you
able to
have.
see it.
I bet you haven't read the Quran. But also, this doesn't match
I
up
actually
to.
have. I have one over here.
This doesn't
But can
actually
I
match up to reality. It says exactly what I said it says. It says, "For the wrath of God is
well
revealed from
can I
heaven
read it?
against all ungodliness and injustice of those who, by their injustice, suppress the truth." We're not suppressing the truth.
Okay, can I read it?
I just did.
Now you read some of it, but you were paraphrasing.
I read verse
And
18
so
verbatim.
all right, let's keep going. It says because that which may be known of God is manifest in them, for God had shown it unto them. For the invisible things of Him from creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even His eternal power and Godhead. So they are without excuse, because that when they knew God, they glorified Him not as God, neither
Mm-hmm.
were thankful but
Mm-hmm.
became vain in their imaginations,
Mm-hmm.
and their foolish hearts being darkened, professing to be wise, they became
Mm-hmm.
fools, and changed the glory of the incorruptible God into images made like incorruptible men, birds, four-footed beasts, and creeping things. Wherefore God gave
Let
them
us
up
know
to uncleanness.
when you're done
I'm,
preaching and you want to talk
yeah,
about the
I'm,
substance.
I'm just reading the word of God. I didn't write this,
We
so I'm not
we
preaching. I'm
know
reading.
we know what it
I'm
says.
reading.
We also disagree with it. We
Clear,
don't think that any of this is
clear.
true. What we need for you to demonstrate is that it is
I
true,
would,
not just pretend
I
like
would
it's
ask,
true.
I would ask this question. Right. Right. I'll ask this question. Do you know what a reprobate mind is?
Yeah, it's just what you have.
Okay. So a reprobate mind is someone that suppresses the
he
truth,
can't.
and now
He's
they
like,
believe.
I got
Now,
a
now,
script. I got to stay on my
Mm,
now,
script. I can't
yeah.
deviate from my
now,
script.
now they
I came to
believe.
preach and I will
Now
not
they
be
Yeah.
deterred.
believe.
Yeah, the
Now they
evidence that
believe
you
that
guys
they
are just
know.
suppressing
Now
the
they believe they
truth
know
is
the truth. Hold on.
because you guys have an unvirtuous, like an epistemically unvirtuous mind, you know. The reason why I know you're suppressing the truth is because you're
Mm-hmm,
suppressing the truth. Fucking brilliant,
mm-hmm.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
this is
wild.
circular,
Great,
by the
great,
way.
great, great.
Yeah,
So I,
sorry,
hey,
sorry. What's the
hey,
evidence that that's true?
fine.
Yeah, what's the
So look,
evidence that any of this is true?
I will give you this. So if you're saying
It's
I have a
true because the
reprobate
Bible
mind,
said
I'm saying
so.
hold on. You're saying I have a reprobate mind. I'm saying you have a reprobate mind. How do we clarify which
With
one is
evidence.
actually in a reprobate
with
mind?
with
So
with
give me your
evidence.
evidence of that. Give me your evidence that I have a reprobate
The
mind, and I'll
instant
give you mine.
burden shift.
Yeah, immediate burden
You
shift.
have to love it.
Yeah. You have a
No,
reprobate
we are
mind
both we're both
because
on
you're
two.
pretending like you
Go ahead.
know people that you don't know and that you're pretending something is true that isn't true. In fact, you're actively
Okay, hold
spreading
on.
a lie, which means you're a
Let's stop
reprobate
there.
mind.
Can we
Reprobate minds
can we
love lies, and that's what you love. You
can
love a
we
lie.
can we address that? Okay, you said now I'm professing to know someone I don't know. Am I correct when you said that?
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you know what actually goes on in my mind, and how do you know that I don't know what I know?
We just watched you do it. You're professing to know what's inside of our heads and you don't.
I didn't. I never one
You
time said
did.
that.
You
The
literally
word of
did.
the
You
word
just
of
said that
God said
Romans,
that.
it's not the word of God. It's an adorable book, but it's not the word of God. Listen, just because
You
Romans said
don't
something
believe it's the
doesn't
word of
mean that
God.
it's
That's why we say
true.
you're in a reprobate
Of
mind,
course, I
brother.
don't believe it's the word of God. That's for you to demonstrate. You would have to demonstrate that it's the word of
Amen.
God before us to believe that it is.
And I say you don't believe it. That's why we're in the reprobate
We
part. I
don't
say you're
believe it
reprobate because you
because
don't believe
it's
it. You say I believe it and
demonstrably
I'm reprobate.
untrue.
Correct?
It's demonstrably untrue. That's why we don't believe it.
Okay, you just said that I'm
Would
reprobate
you
because I
would you
believe
like
it.
to
I said you're
learn
reprobate
would you
because you
like to
don't believe it.
learn
And then you
would you
said,
like to learn
hold
why
on,
it's not
brother.
true, or do you want to cry about the word
Hold on, brother.
reprobate? Because it sounds like you just want to have a
Hold on,
crying
brother. Hold on.
session. Sounds
No,
to
no,
me like you
brother.
don't
Look,
actually know how to determine if something's
great,
true.
great,
If I
great,
told
great
you
job,
that
great job,
the
great
Quran is
job.
true, would it matter
Mhm.
if somebody had a reprobate mind to determine if the Quran is true, or would you just read the
The
Quran and ask yourself, is it
I,
true?
I love how you keep going back to the Quran. The Quran
Well,
actually says this right
it's a
here.
good analogy.
Hold on. Okay, let's go into your analogy. Let's just stay where you are because I think we can meet you where you're at. The
I don't think you
Quran
can.
actually confirms the Quran confirms that the Bible is true. The
No,
Injil.
it doesn't.
It actually says goes to the brothers
It
of
doesn't.
faith so you can get understanding.
The Quran says that
Exactly.
Jesus wasn't even
And so
crucified.
it also says that
So it
Jesus
doesn't
is
confirm that the
Isa.
Bible is true. So you got it. Yeah.
It
If
says
Jesus wasn't
Jesus. It
crucified, then that
says
means that the
Jesus is
Bible is not
Isa.
true. Either Jesus was crucified
Now
or he
they may not
wasn't.
have.
If the Quran says that the Jesus wasn't crucified, that means they don't agree.
I don't think you're hearing.
I did
Does not the
hear
Quran say
his
that the oh,
the Quran says that
let's
the
stay on
Quran says
common
that he
ground.
wasn't
Does the
crucified.
common
So
does the
can it be
Quran agree
true
with
that
the Old
Jesus was
Testament?
both crucified or no, it doesn't actually. It
Does
says
the
that it
does
says
the
that it was,
Quran
no, it doesn't.
agree
It
with the
says that
Old
it was,
Testament?
no, it does not. Not only does it not agree with the
Okay,
Old Testament, it says that the Old
how
Testament was corrupted. So just pay attention.
does they
If Jesus
do
being
Muslims say
crucified
Jesus is
is
a prophet?
vital, I don't know why you keep talking, Sermon. You're not going to talk over
Yeah,
me. So
zero self-control.
either Jesus was crucified or he wasn't. The Bible rests on the fact that he was crucified. The Quran says he wasn't
Hmm.
crucified. Only one of them can be correct.
Hmm. Hmm. I agree. Now
So
let's
which
go
one
into
is
the
it?
common. We're obviously agreeing that the Bible is real. Now look at this. Let's go into the common. The
We
Quran
would not agree with
agrees that Jesus is a prophet.
So what?
So they agree in the
So
term
what?
that Jesus is real.
So what? I agree. I think Jesus was real too. Congratulations.
Amen.
What's that got to do with the Bible
Amen.
being true?
So if Jesus is real and Jesus is God, your
But
actual
he's not
thing on
God.
the
He tried
heading
to
is
slip that
actually
in
Yes,
there.
that's crazy.
good
If
job.
Jesus
Yeah,
is real
like
and he's
that
God,
go that
if
that goes to your
If
reprobate
Muhammad's
mind. You
real
just
and
agreed that you
he
have a
was a
reprobate mind.
prophet, was Muhammad a prophet given a message by Gabriel?
You just agreed that you have a reprobate
No,
mind.
I
You
actually
agreed that Jesus is
didn't.
real.
He thinks
We
this is gonna
You
work,
would agree
dude.
with
Oh,
This
Romans.
is
holy
crazy.
Great
shit.
job.
That's so
This is the
Great
sad that he
job.
thinks
dumbest
that this
argument
strategy
I've
is
ever
gonna
I
work.
heard.
love y'all. I
This
love
is
y'all. Jesus loves
embarrassing.
y'all
You
more.
certainly don't love anyone, that's for sure.
Look.
Listen,
This is how
do
you
you
get
agree
over a
that
reprobate
do you
mind. You
think that
repent
Muhammad was real? Do you think
and come to
Muhammad
the
was
knowledge of
real?
the truth.
Sermon, just shut the fuck up and stop preaching. No one cares, okay? If you're
I
not
see
here
you,
to
Matt.
engage, if you're not here to engage in an actual discourse, then you're in the wrong place. No one cares about your preaching. Nobody cares about your complaining that atheists don't believe the same nonsense you believe. We're here trying to have a real dialogue. If you're not here to have a real dialogue, then you can get lost. So listen,
Listening to you.
we're trying to illustrate a point. We agree that Jesus was probably a real person, the same way you think that Muhammad was a real person, but you don't believe that Muhammad received revelation from Gabriel and that it's the final and full revelation that is completely true, more true than the previous revelations. You don't believe that, even though you believe Muhammad's real. So believing that Jesus is real doesn't mean that Jesus is God. And we got another live restriction. I love it. Live restricted for some audience contains themes that some may find body exposure and sexualized behaviors. Really,
What? Okay.
really
what?
unfucking believable TikTok. Anyways, Sermon
It's
Slaughter,
the
did you want to have a real conversation or did you want to preach? Because it's up to you.
let me address what you just said about Muhammad. All right. You said, do I agree that he actually had a revelation from Gabriel, correct?
Nope. I said, do you agree that he had a revelation from Gabriel? It's the final revelation and it's the one true revelation, even over the previous ones.
All right. So over the previous would be the Bible, right?
Yep.
Okay. That would go directly against the
It's a
Bible
yes or
that
no.
somebody can't.
It's a yes
It
or
would go
no.
direct.
It's a yes or no.
Galatians
I
1,
need a yes or
8,
no,
and 9.
Sermon. I need a yes
Can
or
I ask you
no,
a scripture?
Sermon. Nope, I need a yes or no.
That's an absolute.
I
It's an
need a yes or
absolute no. Now, can
no.
I explain?
Okay, so if it's a no,
I
what that
said
means
no. Can I
is
explain?
believing in the existence of somebody doesn't mean that what they said is true.
No, that's look at this.
That's
Can I
exactly what that
answer with
means. Yeah,
scripture?
That's exactly what
He's
that
like,
means.
he's
Can
No,
I
like
you
short
an-
can't.
can I
circuiting.
answer? Can I answer? The
No,
previous is the
not with
Bible, like you
scripture.
agreed.
What we
So
need you to
Romans, no,
address
no, no,
is the fact
Galatians.
that agreeing that somebody exists doesn't mean you agree with what they said.
See, you want me to just answer yes or no questions and not have a conversation. You
I
just
want
said
you
have
to
a
be
dialogue. You
I
said a
want you to
real
be
conversation.
honest. I want you to be
I
honest
can't
and
even give
not go
I can't
into the
even give my
preaching.
position.
We know your
No, it's
position.
I can't even give my position. My
Getting
position is the word
you
of God. Your
to the
position is not the word of
position.
God. I'm letting
We're
you use
getting you to a
yours. You can't let me
position where
use
you
mine.
understand that thinking somebody exists isn't the same as thinking that what they said is true.
Can I read one scripture?
Are you going to admit that somebody existing doesn't mean what they said is true?
We definitely can agree with that.
Okay, then
Sure.
what is reading scripture going to do for you?
If you let me read it, you'll see.
Okay, it's going to be useless,
You
but
said you
go
want to
for
have a
it.
you say you want to have a real conversation. Okay, Galatians 1:8, it says, but though we or an angel from heaven preach any other gospel than that you have that sorry, then which we have preached unto you, then let them be accursed. He went directly against scripture, so we know that it's not
No, he
true.
didn't. That's a corruption. See how easy it is to argue from the Muslim standpoint? Galatians 1 is a corruption. You
They
guys have a
agree with the
corrupted
scripture though.
scriptural. Yay,
They,
yay,
they agree
yay.
with the
No,
scripture.
they
They
don't.
agree with the
No, they
Injil.
don't. We
Yes,
already went over
they
it.
say
No, they
Muhammad's
don't.
they say
They don't
Muhammad's
agree with
in
the
the Injil.
scripture. They said that the Bible is corrupted and that Jesus wasn't crucified.
So how
So they don't agree with your
so how is
position,
Muhammad in the
which means
Injil?
appealing to the Quran as validating Jesus is useless.
So how is Muhammad in the Injil?
In the what?
They said Muhammad is in the Injil in the Quran.
What the fuck is an Injil?
That means the gospel.
You mean in Arabic that means gospel?
That's what it says in the Quran, buddy. I
I
told you I
don't
have
think
one over here.
I don't
Yeah,
think that's
well,
what it is.
what they'd want to say is very simple. They would just tell you that the gospel is corrupted and that actually he wasn't the original one,
Yeah.
right? That's the line that they would argue from.
All right. Like I said, reprobate mind. Love y'all. I'm out.
Oh, I accept your
I,
surrender, dude. You got fucking folded.
yeah, absolutely fucking cooked. But he loves us. He loves us, even though we're reprobates. Oh
I
boy. Do
love
you
how he
get
like snuck in so many like additional things into every single thing he claimed. Like first it was like, yeah, because Jesus is true, the Bible's true. Because Jesus is true, that means Jesus is God. Like,
Yeah.
the
Yeah, so
Smoggle game was
you agree
strong?
that the sky is blue and that 2 + 2 is 4. So you're a murderer. You confessed to murder here on live. Everyone heard it.
that's crazy.
Oh goodness. Well, we've got a guest waiting to get in here on TikTok. It looks like Zill. We'll grab Zill here in just a second. Let me get a couple super chats. From TWE says, Ella, I'm having the worst luck finding your documents page for a bio and such. Could you provide a direct link? Well,
Yeah. So if you go to the link tree in my bio and you just scroll down on the link tree, it's the very bottom button, and it says sources for discussion. It's a Google Doc. It's free to access as long as you have the link, and it's got lists. It's the tab that says abiogenesis.
oh, fantastic. And the Knights Who Say Knee, good to see you this morning. Hopefully Oswald Bates calls in today. The proliferation of the laxative has penetrated the crevices of the ramification, my brother. Oh my goodness.
What the fuck?
It's, you have to look up Oswald Bates to understand. Rock Hopper Dog and choking on Ian's hog, that is now the newest hashtag, by the way. Eating some shorts says, I know I'm a knower, not a shower. It's my new favorite Christian double entendre.
That's really good.
I love Christian unskippable cutscenes. Yes.
Yeah. Holy
That's
shit.
true.
It's wild when they come to preach like we should care what their book says. It's crazy to me. The Knights Who Say Knee says Christians as car salesmen. I showed them in our pamphlet that says our cars are the best. Why aren't they buying them? Holy shit balls. You did nail it. That is how the Christian game works. And last super chat for now from our friend Philo Dragon. My book has to be true because it has to be true because it has to be true. So says every cult. And obviously, our cult's true because the book said so. And the book says so because it's true. And
Yeah.
so
And the book also says that the people who say it's false are wrong, so it's true.
reprobates even.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get Zil in here. I hope I said that correctly. And we'll get the next conversation going. Welcome in, Zil. Are you at least 18 and do you believe in God?
Yeah, I'm 20 and yeah, I believe in God.
Cool. Which one?
Well, I'm a Christian, but I'm mostly just defending theism in general.
Okay. Do you have an argument for theism then?
Yeah, so I'm sure you already know the argument, so there's not too much of a point presenting it thoroughly, but I'd say fine-tuning is fairly
boy.
good evidence for theism, and I would wonder, what would your opinion be on it? And just to preface, this is my first time doing a TikTok, so I might be kind of bad at speaking, but...
That's all good. So let's get specific on the fine-tuning data. What do you think is fine-tuned?
Well, I suppose the most common example is the cosmological constant.
Sure. Okay. So the way that we assess evidence is we ask, like, how expected is it under like a certain hypothesis? So let's say that we were investigating the hypothesis that it rained last night as opposed to the hypothesis that it didn't rain last night. And the piece of data that we're looking at is like the ground is wet. Well, we would expect the ground to be wet if it rained last night, but this is pretty unexpected if it didn't rain last night. So in this
Yeah.
circumstance, the ground being wet would be evidence that it rained last night. So what about God existing would make us expect that the constants would be this way specifically?
Yeah, so I think, like, say, just suppose that God did not exist. First of all, it would seem weird that anything would exist in the first place unless you have some kind of alternative theory of how anything exists, I suppose. But we also have, like, if theism is true and the Christian God is real, you would expect that there would be an intelligent designer. I'm not using the intelligent design argument, but you know what I mean. God would need to be intelligent in order to create the universe. So if we have a created universe that looks like it's intelligently designed, it would seem like God would be a good hypothesis for how the universe is created.
Yeah, so in terms of like why is there anything at all? I mean, you could just hold that some things are necessary. In fact, I'm probably a necessitarian. I probably think all things are necessary.
Okay. Yeah.
But in terms of like the second part, it's not super clear to me. That doesn't really seem to give an answer or an explanation as to why we would expect these constants as opposed to some other constants. Why did God want this cosmological constant as opposed to a different one?
Well, I suppose you would probably argue divine hiddenness, yeah? Like, as in, I'm just saying,
No,
this is nothing really to do with... Do you think the divine hiddenness argument would be successful, or it's a good argument against theism?
I think it seems like fine evidence, especially given like certain commitments.
Right.
Like, for example, I think divine hiddenness is quite good, given like Christian theism, that if you think
Yeah.
God wants a relationship with all of us, and like a necessary condition for getting this relationship is everyone knowing that you exist, right? You can't have a relationship with someone if you don't know that they exist. It seems like God would make everyone aware of him.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to change the topic now, but if you said, like, oh, why would we suspect this certain value of cosmological constants or the constants to be of the universe to be in a certain way, if the constants could be in a very, very wide range and that they will successfully produce life, that would be quite... Oh, well, I kind of lost my train of thought. Right, you would expect you would expect the constants to be very slim if God did not want to provide evidence for his existence, yeah? If they're a very wide range, you would say, well, there's a lot less evidence for God.
Well, we only have one of each of those like constants. I think that's the point, is that there's not multiple to choose from, so we can't really define a probability or assign one to whether or not the constants were of either low or high probability. There's not a frequency of these cosmological constants. There's not a prior universe to base this off of, and there's also not like propensity, like the propensity of a synthetic chemical to interact in a certain way based off of other natural chemicals. That would be like an idea of how we could use propensity, but there's not that
Okay,
either.
so are you arguing that the values of, for example, the cosmological constants couldn't have been different, or?
I'm arguing you can't assign probability.
So would that kind of be like a necessitarian route, as saying like that the value of the constants just had to be that way?
Not necessarily. It's saying that we can't evaluate the probabilities. It's the probability space objection that in order to say that it's like really strong evidence, we would need to know what the probability is that it is different. And it's basically taking like an agnostic route to it. Like it's saying this can't be evidence because we don't know the likelihood that it could have been different.
Well, I don't know. Like, so you're basically kind of just rejecting the whole kind of premise, whereas like it's not unlikely that we would exist. Basically, you're saying our existence is actually, we don't know if our existence is improbable.
That's what the probability
Is it not
space objection
improbable?
is saying.
What formula
Like,
are
is there
you
a science-
using to predict probability?
Well, I don't know. I'm not a scientist, so I'm not sure about all that. But
Well, that's the
I'm just saying,
that's
would
the
you
point.
agree?
Like you're assigning probability to
saying-
something you don't have a formula for. So like if you can't tell me
Okay,
the formula,
I'll just
why
ask
should
you
I
then.
believe you?
Okay, I'll just ask you then. Do you think our existence is improbable?
No.
It's probable. How probable? And how would you know that?
So based off of all of the accumulation of different events that have occurred on Earth's history, that would make human evolution probable.
Right. So you just said that our existence we can't determine the probability of our existence, and now you're saying it's
Well,
false.
I'm
that it's
basing
not
this off
improbable.
of other species. I'm basing this off of other
But that's
species.
assigning
There
the
are many other
probability. You
great.
said you can do that though.
Well, again, I'm basing this off of prior species. There were
I'm
many
just kind of
hominids.
just arguing at a more fundamental level, like existing at all, even biological organisms, biological organism.
Well, I don't think you could determine existence overall because there isn't really other existences to base that off of.
It would plausibly be quite unlikely, though. Yeah. No.
Why?
I don't think so.
Why?
You don't think so?
No.
Well, why don't we
If we're
see
just
like
talking
life
about
on
rapid evolution
other
on
planets then?
Earth,
Well,
yeah,
how many
yeah.
planets
If
do you
we're
think we
talking
have
about
access
life on
to?
planet- Yeah, and based off of what we understand about primitive Earth, it was actually very likely that life would have formed. There would have been millions of protocells, which is pre-life, popping in and out of existence.
Exactly.
In fact, we see this
Yeah.
today. Yeah, so it's very probable
I
that
agree.
life
Yeah,
would have formed
because
on Earth.
I would argue it's because that's because I believe in fine tuning. But under your view, it's a lot harder to explain why
No.
why life
Wait,
is more
wait.
probable.
You don't have any evidence to suggest that the constants were fine-tuned. That's the point we're trying to get at. Is like you can't even give me a equation for probability
No,
that
I'm
you're
just saying- I'm
using
saying-
to determine that probability.
I'm saying they seem fine tuned. No.
No.
By
Why?
what metric?
Well, I like you're saying we can't assign a probability, but I feel like it's kind of the consensus that our existence and
It's not.
our universe is quite unlikely. No, I feel like that's the
No, because
consensus.
there's not other universes that you keep. There's
Says
not other
who?
universes to base off of. There's not other universes to base this off of, so you can't assign a probability.
Okay.
That's why I'm asking you the formula you are using, because based on my current knowledge, there's only 3 ways to define probability, or at least the 3 general ways. And so if you're using a different way to define probability, okay, fine, give me a formula.
Yeah, I don't know about formulas, but like, let's just
Okay,
let's
so you
go a
can
different
say
route.
probable.
I'll just grant. Let's just say the values of the constants are necessary. Let's say that, yeah.
I don't even think that's what's being said. They could just be like, it could be like some non-insignificant chance that it comes up this way. There's the only way to evaluate the likelihood of these constants existing is by knowing the probability space.
Mm.
which
Okay,
again
so
we can't
but you
determine.
said you're a you said you're a necessitarian, right?
Yeah, I'm a necessitarian. Yeah.
So do you believe the universe always existed, or what's is your view on that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So would you say that that rules out the possibility of God existing, or would you say that God could still exist with an eternal universe?
So, it depends. Oh gosh, I don't want to be like the debate
Actually,
pervert, but
sorry, more
there are different
precisely,
types of possibility.
different types of possibility.
Wait, sorry, wait, what did you
Like,
say?
okay, let's just.
What was
I'll phrase
your
it.
what,
I'll
what
phrase
type of
it a different
possibility?
way. I'll phrase it different. I'll phrase it, the question a different way. If the universe is eternal, yeah, would you say that fine tuning is not good evidence then, if that condition is true?
Well, okay, so no, I don't think that follows from that. I think if the universe is necessary, then fine tuning isn't good evidence. But I don't think that if the universe is
Yeah.
eternal, because fine tuning is drawing on evidence from within the universe itself. So obviously, the conditions of the universe itself are relevant to determine whether or not it's finely tuned. But here's something to consider: God could have created life in literally any universe with literally any constants. We could have been a bunch of like electrons zipping around, and then God could have given all of us like minds and love and the capacity to like worship him and form relationships and like a profoundly deep, meaningful, like mental experience. So
Yeah.
there's no reason to think that God would select these constants as opposed to constants where we're just like electrons in love.
Unless he wanted to provide evidence for his existence, right? Because this is what I was saying before. I was saying if the
But it's
probability
not
of our existence is
evidence.
very, very slim, I was saying if our probability of existence is very, very slim, it would seem like, oh, an intelligent designer created that.
I don't think
When
so,
you say
actually.
our
Instead
existence, are
of
you
the
speaking of humans? Are you speaking of like life in general? Like, what are you speaking of?
well, yeah, more specifically humans, yeah.
Oh, well then, wait, why does God desire humans?
Why does he desire humans?
As opposed to
Well,
some
I
other
suppose
form?
relationship is the primary reason.
But he could have a relationship with any form. Like God could have made us electrons in love, and he could have formed relationships with these electrons that have minds.
How is a relationship with an electron very significant, though? It's not really significant, not morally significant. It's not
Because
beautiful.
God could imbue them
Like,
with
I don't know.
minds that make the relationship significant. God could imbue them with like these like deep,
God
profound
could
mental
imbue an electron?
experiences.
I mean,
Yeah.
sure, if you're just saying, okay, let's just put human consciousness in an electron, sure, he could do that, yeah. But I don't see
Yeah.
why go that route.
Well, then
He
why
could
would he
do that,
want
yeah.
this form as opposed to the electrons?
So why you're saying why would God want the physical form of a human rather than the electron?
Yeah. So what the fine-tuning evidence is pointing towards is that if these constants were different, then there would just be like there wouldn't be complex structures, like atoms wouldn't form. Instead, there would be like a bunch of these subatomic particles, like kind of like zipping and zorping around. But God could get exactly what he wants from humans from this electrons and love world.
Yeah, he could, yeah, but I mean, I don't know
So
why you're asking that.
it's not
though.
evidence. The constants can't be evidence if there's no reason to expect them over some other set of constants.
I don't see how this is really a reason to reject fine tuning, like, because if you're just saying he could put a human mind in an electron, why doesn't he do that? And then it seems like you're just dismissing the fine tuning based on that. I don't see how that follows at all.
Because the constants aren't expected under your worldview. There's no reason why we would expect God to make
Why aren't they?
this
Why
form
aren't
of
they
life
expected?
as opposed to some other form of life.
Why aren't
If
they
God can have a
expected, though?
relationship with any form of life, there's no reason that we would expect him to create this one specifically.
I mean, any form of life.
Yeah, he could
I don't
imbue
know.
literally any constants. God could
So you're
select any
basically like
constants,
the
and then
argument's like
he could have
the
creatures that he
argument.
could have relationships with.
So you're just saying, like, why didn't God make humans more simple, basically, like not biologically complex and whatever?
You need to
I
give
I
would
a.
don't know. That's a strange
Oh
question.
yeah, I
I
was
think.
just saying.
I would argue that humans
Mhm.
are not necessarily the most complex, by the way.
Sure,
But
yeah, it's more
basically,
complex.
it would be your burden
Precisely.
to give like a reason to think that God has some unique reason to create humans as opposed to electrons and love. If God could get electrons and love out of like basically any configuration of constants, then it's not clear why he would select this one.
Okay, I suppose if you really want to go that way, then I don't see how it's that interesting. But like, I suppose, like for example, behavior. Electrons can't behave the way humans can because as humans we have certain biological structures that allows us to do certain things that are good.
You
And
could give
electrons don't
electrons
have that same
forces
capacity.
that yeah, you could give like electrons the ability to like navigate their environment, and then when they're like specific distances away from other electrons, they can take specific actions towards them. You know, like
I
tell
don't know
them
why.
that they
Like
love them,
this
like
seems kind of
configure, you know, if they all form like a little circle of electrons, they can all worship God together.
okay. Yeah, he could do that, but that just
Yeah.
because he could do that doesn't mean he should, or it's less likely that he would make us this way. I don't know why. I don't. Not trying to be rude
Why
or
would
anything,
he
but it
make
just
us
seems
this way as
unproductive
opposed to the
to.
electron way?
I don't know. That's kind of a issue of divine psychology. I don't know, really, to be honest.
That's
I
the
don't see
exact
why it's
objection,
relevant,
right?
though.
This is a divine psychology objection.
Right. So, but why is that? Why is that an objection to fine tuning?
Fine tuning operates under the premises that it's expected if God exists that he would fine tune the constants. But if God doesn't exist, it's unexpected that the constants would be fine tuned. Therefore, the fine tuning of the constants is evidence in favor of God's existence. So the place that this objection comes in is that it undermines premise one. The premise that we would expect God to fine tune the
Premise one.
constants. There's no reason to think that God would fine tune the constants as opposed to having any constants where he imbues electrons with minds.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you're just saying, why didn't God just make a simpler universe that would require less fine tuning, and he can imbue the same structures, physical structures with human consciousness? You're saying that, yeah?
I don't know if I'd say human consciousness,
something along
but
those
just
lines?
like equivalent, yeah, like equivalent consciousness.
Okay, so basically the objection is saying that God seems to have fine-tuned the universe to a better extent than why he had to.
No, not really. Just that we have no reason to expect this form
sa-
as opposed to some other form.
I don't know, like I would think it would be kind of expected for God to make a more complex, more beautiful kind of humanity rather than an electron humanity.
Why?
I just don't see how this is really a good objection.
Why? Why would that be more expected?
Well, where's beauty? Where's the beauty in humans
Well,
being an electron?
as an
Isn't
electronic,
beauty important?
as an electrical engineer, I think electrons are pretty gorgeous.
Example.
Yeah, the
like,
electrons could form
exactly.
like
And
gorgeous shapes with each other.
I'm sure a scientific niche thinks biological organisms is beautiful as well. So why doesn't God
So
create us as biological organisms?
so beauty's
Well,
in the eye of
I
the
would
beholder.
argue, yeah, I would argue that a single, let's say C2C12 cell that is transfected with GFP, which is a type of protein that makes the cell glow. I would say a glowing cell, just a single cell, is more beautiful than most human life, in my personal opinion. Sorry.
So basically, what I'm saying though, I think it's quite intuitive for most people that humanity as a creation is more beautiful than a few electrons separated, whatever. And if you reject that, you're saying, if you reject that, you're saying beauty. No, if you reject that, you're saying. Sorry.
This isn't evidence. This is just your opinion. In the same way that
I think it's kind of self-evident though. I'll just finish the point though. If you reject that humanity is more beautiful than a few electrons, you're kind of saying that beauty is what's the word? Beauty isn't to be considered in God creations of the universe.
So here's the problem: is that even though you find this to not be, like, even though you find the electron world to not be beautiful, we have good reason to think that like our sense of beauty probably doesn't map onto some sort of like objective underlying reality. That we find things to be beautiful based on like certain symmetries and patterns and things of that sort. It seems like those things could have existed
Mhm.
in the electron world too.
Okay, let's just compare the electron world
Again,
and
it's
the humans. Okay, so for example, you as a human,
Yeah.
right? You can do very cool, pleasurable things. You can do cool things. You can have all. You have all these capacities, physical capacities that you wouldn't have if you were an electron, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a worse world then if you were an electron?
Because electrons could have capacities that I couldn't have, God could imbue their mental states with like depth and texture, the likes of which I couldn't even begin to comprehend.
Okay. I don't really know where to go from here because I'm not trying to be like mean or anything, but it just doesn't seem very interesting of an objection, you know?
Okay. I'm not trying to be mean, but
I
it
don't know if
doesn't
you
really
feel the
seem like
same
you have a
way or-
response.
Well, I feel like it's just a point where you agree to disagree at this objection.
Okay.
Well,
That's
I
fine.
think
I'm like happy to agree to disagree with that. Is there something else you wanted to talk about?
I think the point of the objection is that the human form isn't the expected form. If God was
Yep.
wanting to create, there's no good reason to expect this form over another form. And so
But no,
that's
you're doing divine psychology by saying that. How would you know what
Well,
God
yeah.
wants or
This is
why he doesn't want?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is a divine psychology objection. Yes.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now
I'm not
but you're
saying that one is preferred over the other. What I'm saying is you have no reason to believe that one is preferred over the other.
Oh yeah, okay. This is where I just agree to disagree because I think it seems obvious that we would.
No, because preference,
But I
your
don't know.
preference is only based on the fact that you are a human. But if you're, say, a lion or a tiger, your preference is probably going to be a lion or a tiger, right? What you think is best is just because you are that thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm.
But like the reason why I think the fine tuning argument fails, every one of them, all of them fail because fine tuning has a fatal assumption, and that assumption is that the universe had a goal, right? So for example, the goal of creating life is like super. If you think it's super hard, super rare, that's it might be, maybe it is. I don't know. I don't think it is, but even if it was, it's still meaningless, completely meaningless, because something happening by accident, whether it's rare or not, is not a sign that it was done by an agent. In order for probabilities to be meaningful, you'd have to already prove that the agent was intending to do it. Like if I threw a deck of cards down, the order that they land in is improbable, right? There's like a trillion combinations it could land in. It's meaningless. The fact that it landed in that improbable combination means absolutely nothing unless I said, "Hey, I'm going to throw these cards down and here's the order they're going to land in." Now, if I told you the order they're going to land in before I threw them down, now I'm doing something that's crazy difficult. But just the fact that they landed in that combination in itself is completely meaningless. Just the fact that the universe is in the combination that it's in is completely meaningless. It's only meaningful if you can already define who the agent is and the goal of the agent.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I get your point, but I obviously disagree. I would think like the order that the universe in would be like a house, where there's obviously an intention behind it.
No, I don't think so.
Wait, I think another part to recognize is that if the universe was finely tuned for life, specifically human life, to form, then there wouldn't be so many flaws with the universe in and of itself for human life. And to clarify what I mean by that, the sun, the thing that allows us to synthesize vitamin D in our bodies, the thing that allows our plants to grow and our agriculture to thrive, that also gives us skin cancer. We can't go outside of our Earth's atmosphere because the universe is hostile to human life. And we also don't see human life on every single planet. In fact, we see more microorganisms in regards to like evidence of life on like asteroids and Mars. And that's microorganisms, not macroorganisms. So like, as far as the universe goes, it doesn't seem as though it's finely tuned for human life. If anything, it would be finely tuned for microorganisms, or at least like atoms, but that's not human life.
Or stars or black holes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would kind of go into like the problem of evil and natural evils. But I suppose it depends how you define fine tuning.
Well, I think that's the fine tuning. I think that is the fine tuning argument, because if that is going into the fine tuning argument, not just the problem of evil.
Yeah, no,
Like
no,
we
but you're
just
saying
don't see
like the
minerals everywhere.
yeah, you're saying though like the universe isn't fine tuned exactly for human life. It's not it it has flaws, etc.
Well, it isn't object like just based off of what we can see. It's not.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree.
So
No, I was saying that yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It depends how you define fine tuning.
well, you
Because
made it
if
seem
you're
like
saying
fine humans.
okay, sorry, I have to go. But thank you for the conversation.
Hey, thanks for coming up. Appreciate you.
Have a good one.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Interesting. I personally don't understand why so many people find the fine tuning argument convincing. I almost feel like sometimes I'm missing something, but like it comes up a lot.
Well, I think that there are like better and worse versions of it. I think that the argument that you want to make is that um, like when you like really put it into perspective, there is like a lot of constants wherein like if they were like slightly different, atoms themselves just wouldn't exist. But I don't know. There's like I also think that a lot of people run objections that are quite bad to it. Like a good case to run is like, you know, if we went down to like the level of like the proton, and then written on every proton was like the Gospel of John. Well, I mean, probably at that point we would update our beliefs in favor of like Christianity being like very true. And they want to argue that the situation we find ourselves in with respect to the constants is something similar to that, that it is just like so precise that, you know, it's but I don't know. It's a bit of a ramble on my part.
Yeah, but even if they were precise, like say they're, super improbably precise, I still don't know what that would have to do with a designer. Like it seems completely unrelated.
I think the idea is that there's reasons why we would expect like this level of precision if there was a designer who wanted life, but there isn't a reason to expect this precision if there isn't a designer. Like we would probably expect like a dead universe.
But how do we determine that it's actual precision and not chance?
I think that that's like a it's like the probability space objection. I think that I think probably the good response is like the limit case of, you know, if in the stars in the sky spelled out like God is real, um, or we knew that that was like present from like the initial conditions. There's like written in every language, made by love with God. Then even though we don't know what the probability that this could have been otherwise is, we would probably think that it's like evidence.
Yeah, yeah. So we got a couple violations during our first two chats. Should we restart our TikTok stream and get a fresh stream going? I'm trying to figure out what we should do with this because I don't
I
know
think
if
that
we're going
makes
to be getting
sense.
pushed out for the rest of the TikTok stream. Let me restart TikTok and then I'll read some super chats as well. We'll keep the stream rolling along, but I want to make sure we're actually getting pushed out. 1 second. Our TikTok stream is down momentarily. We'll read some super chats and I'll get it to TikTok back up. Herbie Shine, good to see you, friend. Says, I've just started watching at the beginning. My poor arthritic knees are hurting just watching Miss Scientific on her treadmill. Oh, to have young knees. Unfortunately, we might all
To
get in
be
that
fair,
position.
I do wear knee braces because I have HEDS. So I'm not completely exempt from the bad knee argument there.
Mm.
That's an argument against fine tuning it in itself, I would imagine. Amir, good to see you, friend. Says, speaking of resources, I've been using Justin's spreadsheet to debate on threads. Very helpful, thank you. That's what the fuck I'm talking about, Amir. That's why I put the sheet together. Use the deconstruction cheat sheet. Go out and debate people. I don't think you'll lose.
It's been my go-to strategy when I'm debating on Chatterbait.
That's crazy. Oh my god, I just got that.
I don't
He's
know.
got a weekly meeting with P Mars over there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me and P Mars, where it's like a battle of titans,
Oh no.
clash of the ages.
PMR is wild. Matthew Mulkeen, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for raising the issue of the primordial water not being credited by Yahweh. That puts a spanner in their talking point of Genesis mentioning the Big Bang. It is true, actually, right? Because in Genesis, remember, the primordial water is there before anything happens. And the darkness is already there too. By the way, if you go to Isaiah 45, God has to create the darkness, but nowhere does He create the primordial water. Germs, hold on. Germ Schrollino says TikTok filtering is being weaponized. Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, Dean Withers got a 5-year ban, 3 days in a row for being a minor. What the fuck?
What?
Conservatives and Christians are using the right-friendly TikTok policies to silence opposing views. Yeah, we expected
That's
that.
Dean's been running into that for quite some time. I don't know. He's gotten his stuff like reported and taken down. Like I remember the era where Dean's accounts kept on getting banned over and over and over again.
Yeah. In the early days of TikTok, you did have to have like 5 TikTok accounts.
Yeah, you
Are
couldn't
we
say. Well, I mean, it went through like cycles, but there was like the period where you couldn't say the word gay. Yeah.
True. We've got TikTok stream back open, friends. I've got Ian and myself loaded back up on TikTok. We'll get Ella here in a second, and hopefully we should get some debaters in here shortly, so that we can continue the conversations. We do have one person in our YouTube queue, so we'll grab them next, and then we'll have somebody on TikTok shortly, I'm sure. Oh, there we go. Eat some shorts. Thank you for the super chat, Justin. Thumbs out, guns out. Snitch being ripped. And Ian's curls must be triggering the Christians to flag the lives today. That might be it, actually.
True. I think we busted this whole thing wide open.
The curls are looking pretty good, though. I got 3 more
Thanks.
super chats. Karen, thank you for the super chat. Is question begging theists to stop running vague notions of probability when they can't even articulate basic concepts in the discipline? The entire practice has been rake stepping theists for centuries, and that's holding true here. Yes, I think that's the probability issue that Snitch and Ian are both bringing up, which is like, listen, how are we calculating the probability? You can say, it seems to me more probable, but saying it seems to me to be more probable is not the same as actually doing a real probability calculation. Like, how did we
Yeah.
determine?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, totally, right? Like, it's, I don't know. I don't think people should be engaging in like Bayesian style like probability arguments if they don't know anything about probability, you know?
Right.
Otherwise, you just do run into the rakes. You just step on all of the rakes.
It seems to be the case. And if you don't have a formula for your probability, I don't know why we should trust your probability. I am the big cheese. Thank you for super chat. Weird. I clicked it twice. Sorry. Analogy against fine tuning for life. Countless recipes for cookies, chocolate chips, vegan, baking powder, sugar, maple syrup, etc. Oh, excuse me. I need some coffee. Life can be tuned a countless different ways for a recipe of viable life. That's true. And that's kind of like the human fine tuning argument, which is like, why is human specifically like more desirable over any other form of life? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think that this is like a really good analogy. And like think about it like this. Let's say that there's like a cake in front of us and we're trying to figure out where it came from. So we, assume like the cake making God made the cake because it's tasty. But then the cake making God has the power to make anything tasty. If he can make anything tasty, then why the fuck did he make the cake?
True. Very,
Yeah,
very
that's a
true.
good. I think another part of it is like we only know what the constants are for our universe. So like as you said, if they were something different, yeah, if they were any different in our specific universe, maybe atoms wouldn't exist or something else wouldn't exist. But how do we know that that would also occur in another universe?
Hmm.
True. It's the fine tuning is just a weird argument for me. There's so many easy objections. It's baffling that it's still going on. Karen, thank you for the super chat. Please don't make probabilistic arguments with respect to God. Scientific snitch. I already did. It's my thing. No fair bringing up the prior probability of God with respect to suffering and evil. Oh, actually, that's a fair point, actually. If we are talking about probabilities, like we probably could include this idea of why it's unprobable in, like, say, a theistic worldview to have so much suffering and carnage here on the earth if God went through all the trouble of, designing the whole thing. You know what I mean? I don't know how you would formulate that
True.
into like a math solution, though. Let's get random thoughts in here real quick, and we'll keep rolling. Random thoughts. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Random. Are you at least 18, and do you believe in God?
Yes to both.
Okay. And which God do you believe in?
Oh, I'm Christian.
Okay. And what do you think is the best evidence or argument for the Christian God?
I don't know. It's hard to narrow it down. I think just based on, um, I think it's just more likely to be true than not. Just based on the evidence behind Jesus and everything.
Okay,
So,
what do you think the evidence is?
well, we have the accounts in the Bible, and I just think that those are more credible than not.
Okay, why would we think that they are credible?
Well, just based on all the evidence put together, you have the empty tomb, you have the people claim to see Jesus after the death, and you put all the
Okay.
accounts together, you add it all up, and you just figure out what explanation best fits it all.
Okay, well, what if I said I don't think there actually is an empty tomb?
That's a weird claim because um, there's literally a church sitting on it right now.
How do you know that the church is on the actual tomb?
How do you know it's not?
Well, that's not an argument. You're saying that the church is on the tomb. I'm saying, how do you know that?
Well, because it's because of the descriptions of where the tomb is given in the Bible, and it's just best guess scenario. I mean, I'll admit it's a best guess, but um, we have accounts of people afterwards claiming the tomb was empty. So
So,
I think it's a fair.
whose accounts do we have?
Well, you have the accounts in the Bible. You have Luke, who wasn't an
No.
eyewitness, but he did an
So,
investigation. Matthew, Mark,
so who did Luke investigate with?
uh, the eyewitnesses of that time.
Like who? Did he name a single one of them?
No, but what does that have to do with anything?
Okay, so we've got a guy from maybe
Hmm.
the late first century that says, "Hey, I talked to witnesses. I'm not going to name any of them, but I did talk to them." And do you think that's good
Uh-huh.
evidence?
Oh, I mean, he didn't not name any. He named Peter. He named the disciples.
Did he say he talked to them though?
No, but
Okay,
that's not an argument from silence. Isn't an argument.
it's not an argument from silence. I'm saying your claim is that he talked to the people that were actually there, and that claim's not in the book.
Hmm. Okay, but you have the other accounts as well. So again, you
Like
just put
who?
it all together. He clearly
Like who?
talked to Paul,
Like
huh?
like whose account?
Well, you have Matthew, Mark, and John,
Did do
and
you
you
think
have
Luke?
and you have
Do you,
all of
th-
Paul's
Do you
accounts,
think Locke? Do
who
you think Luke
who
talked to
obviously
Paul,
knew
or
Luke.
not Paul? I mean, do you think Luke talked to Matthew, Mark, and John? Because we got a couple problems. One is we don't know that Luke wrote Luke. It's anonymous, just like the other three gospels.
You
Matthew,
have any
almost
account in
certainly,
history that's not attributed to him?
yeah. The earliest gospel
Oh,
manuscripts don't have the names of the gospel authors, and neither do the contents of any of the gospels name the gospel authors. That's a matter of church tradition. They've added those to the manuscripts much later based
so
on what they would call word of mouth, but the earliest manuscripts don't contain the names.
so there's currently documents in existence that aren't attributed to those authors.
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah. In like manuscript archives, like the Oxyrhynchus archive and Chester Beatty archive, like the earliest one for Matthew is P1. P1 doesn't have Matthew's name on it.
All right. Well, I mean, but regardless, if they were attributed to the authors, that would be an argument against it, because ancient
No, it wouldn't.
sources didn't. Yeah, it would.
No, it wouldn't. Ancient
Because that
sources
that that, that would go against the
almost
writing style of that
universally.
time.
No, it wouldn't. Ancient sources
Mhm.
almost universally listed who they talked to, where they got their information from, and who was writing.
Okay. I
So,
mean,
like, you could read any of them: Tacitus, Suetonius. You can read Josephus, Livy, all of the early, first century, pre-first century authors. Philo. You knew who was
mhm.
writing, and quite often they were writing in the first person.
Okay.
So,
So,
to me, like the
but
eyewitness,
none of this is evidence against it.
yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
So your
It's just
claim
a it's
is
just
that
a.
Christianity, the resurrection happened, Christianity is true because of these eyewitnesses, and then it
Mhm.
turns out we don't have eyewitnesses.
Well, we have
So,
accounts. So I mean,
so why should I believe them?
you don't have to. But the point. So the way a claim works. So I'm making the claim, and
Mhm.
the evidence supporting my claim is these eyewitness accounts, as well as
But they're not
I
eyewitness
mean,
accounts.
you don't know that
Well,
they're anonymous
well,
accounts that were attributed to
they're
authors.
anonymous. Yeah. So if you're saying that they're eyewitness accounts, that's on your plate to prove. It's not on my plate to disprove. I've already given you the evidence
You're
internally
making the
from
claim.
the
You made a
documents. The
positive claim
documents
that they
don't
are not
actually
eyewitness
claim.
accounts.
I made the positive claim from the documents that they don't claim to be eyewitness accounts.
John doesn't claim to be an eyewitness account.
John doesn't claim to even write John.
I mean, not specifically, but he
They're
refers to himself plenty.
No, he doesn't. The
Yes,
authors
he
of the
does.
Gospel of John are multiple. They're mentioned in
Well,
the last chapter
that's a claim.
in John 21. They call themselves a we. They say
Hmm.
specifically that we know his testimony is true. They're collecting the testimony, whoever this is. It's a group of people
Hmm.
claiming to be collecting testimony from others, including John the Baptist and John the disciple.
Okay.
So that means John didn't
So,
write it.
I mean, whether he wrote it or wrote it or organized it is, it's kind of irrelevant.
Well, you said that John wrote it. I'm just telling you he didn't.
Well, he definitely wrote parts of it.
Why would we think that? Nothing in the
Hmm.
gospel says that.
Well, he refers to himself plenty as the
No, he
disciple
doesn't.
whom Jesus loved. Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
Uh, he definitely does.
No, he doesn't. If he didn't write it, then he didn't refer to himself.
Okay, if you read through it, the
I have.
name John is not. I I'm wondering at this point,
Well,
because
I'm
if you
wondering
read through
because
it,
if
that
you've read it, you know that John doesn't claim to be an author anywhere in it.
it's based on the context of the writing. Okay,
I
you're
know.
using an exact phrase fallacy. You're saying, oh,
No, I'm
because
not.
he didn't specifically say. Yes, you are. You're
No, I'm
saying
not.
because he didn't specifically say, I am John writing this gospel, therefore he must not have written it. If
I
you
didn't
read
say
it, the
that.
context definitely says that, or the context definitely indicates that John wrote it,
No, it doesn't. In fact,
which is why it was attributed to John.
the context actually indicates the opposite. It says, "This is the disciple,"
It
referring
is
to
the
him in the third
opposite of
person.
John. What is the opposite of a person?
I just told you, this is the disciple talking about somebody not in the first person who is testifying to these things and has written them, and we know that his testimony is true. So, who's ever compiling the Gospel of John is collecting people's testimonies and putting them into a book. It's not John, it's somebody else.
Okay.
It's a we. Now they claim to collect the
Ro-
testimony of John, and they also claim in chapter 1 to have the testimony of John the Baptist. So both
uh-huh.
Johns, according to the
Hmm.
gospel, have had their testimonies collected as well as some other people. So what that means is that John didn't write this gospel.
If I collect statements from other people, I
Yeah.
compile it, I organize it.
Hmm.
You can like I can take credit for saying I've written it, even though they're not specifically my words.
Yeah, but John wasn't doing it. That's my point.
How do you know that?
Because verse 24 says so. Verse
Verse
24 is
verse
a
24 in what
we.
chapter?
21.
So chapter 21, verse 20, because he's using a we, referring to
He's not using a
the
we.
context of the disciples.
He's not using a we or talking about the disciples.
Hold up, let me
You would know this if you had read
grab
it,
my
buddy.
Bible real quick. I have read it.
No, you haven't.
Okay, it's a weird claim.
It's a true claim.
I have a
All right.
testimony from the person who manages whatever bank you use that you're to send me $1 million soon.
Was that supposed to be intelligent?
Oh
Yeah,
no, he's
it,
so
it
mad.
was.
Okay.
Oh no, a
So
woman
you said
spoke.
verse 20. You said verse 20 or chapter 21, verse. What
24.
verse did you say?
Very end of the book.
24. Oh, this the disciples who bearing witness to these things and wrote these things down that we might know that his witness is true. Okay, so what?
So what that
I'm not
means,
seeing.
so what that means is that there are multiple authors that have collected John's testimony and placed them into this book. The same way in chapter
The
1,
we is the audience. He's
the
including
same way
himself with the
he
readers.
certainly isn't including himself with the readers. The same way in
How do
chapter
you
1,
possibly get that out of
the
this?
same way in chapter 1, they're collecting the testimony of John the Baptist. So
Okay.
both John the Baptist and John the disciple have their testimonies contained in this book, and the authors of this book claim to have both of their individual testimonies.
John the disciple isn't specifically named in the book.
I know John the disciple is listed as the one whom Jesus
That's
loved.
a weird thing to leave out.
John the
If
Baptist,
he's collecting the
John the Baptist is called John the Baptist.
correct, yet John
There
the
you go.
disciple is never once named.
I'm aware.
Right, which lends credence to the claim that John wrote it.
No, it doesn't.
The same reason I don't refer to myself in the third person.
Well, you should, because if you're writing this gospel, you referred to yourself in the third person every time you said the one whom Jesus loved. That's not first person or second person. That's third person.
I mean, if I had to pick on how I'm going to refer to myself, that's the one I'm going with.
No, you'd use first person. You just did it right now.
It's okay. You have to put yourself in the thought of the person writing this. This is considered humility on his part.
Why? Why would we think that?
Because that's what the context shows. He's not trying to make himself equal. Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
You're just making claims.
No, I'm not. I'm reading you the book. The book clearly says that this is the disciple, referring to somebody else other than the author. This is the disciple who said these things right here. These things that were said.
Right.
This is the disciple who is testifying to these things and has written them down. That's past tense, meaning John, this person, has written them down, and we know that his testimony is true. His is in the third person. Who's ever speaking is saying John's testimony is true. We know his testimony is true. This is not the words of John.
What? Okay. If what you're saying is true, why didn't the writer name John the disciple?
He doesn't have to. Whatever he chose to call John is what he chose to call John. Maybe he liked John a lot.
That's your reasoning, just because?
No, it's not just because. It's because that was what the author decided to do. He could have been close to John. He could have been a relative of John. There's a lot of I don't know, theories as to why the name of John was left out, and rather than be called the one whom Jesus loved, it might have been a follower of John, or even a group of people that followed John. We don't know. What we do know is that based on the actual grammar,
person knew John.
What we know from the actual grammar is that John didn't write it.
Okay. As far as you're throwing around the word "no" very loosely,
yeah, because
it
grammar.
is a claim.
No, it's grammar.
It is a claim that John.
It's just grammar.
It's just grammar. Okay.
It's just
so
grammar.
You can't refer to yourself in the third person, or
Acts chapter 4 says that John was illiterate, anyways.
Yeah, but if you have a scribe write something for you,
Well, then
um,
not only did you not write it, you're also not a we. It's funny because this says
okay,
this is the disciple who is testifying to these things and has written them, which is weird if he's illiterate.
okay, this is it's a funny claim because
Was he illiterate or
we
not?
probably,
Oh, so he was
but he
illiterate, but
doesn't.
he wrote them.
Well, he narrated it while someone else wrote it.
So he didn't write them.
Okay, putting pen, you can write something without being the one to put pen to paper. All right,
I don't know if that's how that works.
if I what's that?
I don't think you get to write things if you don't write them.
If I had my PI write my thesis, I wouldn't pass my degree. Like that's, if you don't write something, you don't write something.
Yeah.
If I narrate it and you write it down word for word, I can be the one saying I wrote it. I
I don't
agree
think so.
it may not be the best practice, but if it's the practice available to him, I don't see a problem with that.
There's
Well,
no
it's just-
evidence to see that happened.
The book is the evidence that happened.
No,
No, it's not.
How is it not?
Because it says it was written, not spoken.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, obviously it was written because we have the writings.
Yeah. Did John write it? Because it says that John wrote it.
Again,
Says that-
if you
says that
narrate
John-
something that someone else write down, you
It
can
says-
take the credit for writing it.
It says that John wrote down his testimony and that they have it.
Okay,
Yeah.
again, you're applying modern day context to what was happening at the time. Most of the ancient world at that time was illiterate. So
Yeah, I know.
Clearly,
again,
John wasn't because he wrote it down.
well, first you were saying he's illiterate. Now you're saying he's not illiterate.
Well, we're
Okay.
showing
Well, he
you the
wrote it down.
contradiction.
You are making a claim that he didn't write it. Okay, the evidence that he wrote it is the book itself, or the evidence that it was written down is the book itself.
No, it's evidence that somebody wrote down a story. See, the reason
I don't
why it's evidence of a story is because the Gospel of John contradicts the other supposed eyewitnesses as well. It doesn't know Jesus' last words. It gets the timing of his death wrong. It gets the whole life schedule of Jesus wrong. He gets crucified on a different day. The cleansing of the temple in
if all of
John
the
is in
details-
chapter 2 rather than like the very end of the book. The Gospel of
Right, but
John
all-
contradicts the synoptics on like a dozen different occasions.
Well, I agree that there's apparent contradictions, but all that does is
No, they're
show
real
that it was written
contradictions.
Well, all that does is show that it was written independently. If you take
No, it
down a bunch
doesn't.
of eyewitness statements, yes, it does.
No, it
Because
doesn't.
if it was using the synoptics to write it, then there wouldn't be any contradictions. It's called
It did-
collusion. If you
it did
take a
use
bunch of
the
eyewitness and they
synoptics.
all give you the exact same account, you're
Just
going to say
passion.
they colluded because that's not how eyewitness
Actually,
works.
they did collude. The synoptics were all copied primarily from Mark.
Right, that's
John
the
is
claim. We don't know that for
Jo-
sure.
no, we do. Yeah, we know
Oh,
that
we
for sure.
we do know that for sure. So there's nothing in there's nothing in say Luke that's absent from Mark.
I didn't say that. So what we said is
Okay,
most
well,
of
you
Mark
said
is
you know
copied.
this.
Most of Mark, 90-something% of Mark is copied into the other synoptics. And
Yeah.
Matthew and Luke has a small percentage of material that is unique to Matthew and Luke, and they have a little bit of shared material that's usually referred to as Q. And most of the Gospels, however, are copied from Mark. That's their source material. And the reason why we know
Right.
it's copied from Mark is because
That
Greek
is the
doesn't have
claim
proper
based
word
on scholarly
order.
consensus. I will.
It's a claim based on how the Greek language works.
There is
because
no
Greek doesn't have
possible way
standard
to know
word
that.
order. There is.
Matthew could have been
I'll
written
explain
first,
it.
and we don't really have a way to know.
Actually, that's not true. I'll explain it to you. So the reason why we know that Mark
Okay,
came
let's hear
first
it.
is because Greek word order isn't standardized like English or German or some of the other languages, not even like Hebrew. So in Greek,
Yeah,
like you
well-
use your case endings to determine which words are going to be paired up to which words. So like your verb and your
Mhm.
object and your subject and your nouns, they could be in whatever order you want them to be in. You just have to use the endings to figure out which word gets attached to what. So when you find a paragraph where the word order is like 99% the same word order from one document to another, you know that somebody was copying somewhere because it's highly, highly, highly unlikely. So the only question at that point is who was copying from who? And it's actually pretty easy to see who was copying from who because what you'll find is sometimes Matthew and Luke keep the identical wording of Mark, but then they'll change one or two words. What happens is you can see that Mark's rendering always shows up in Matthew and Luke. If Matthew and Luke change one or two words in the sentence, that change never shows up in Mark. Matthew's change never shows up in Luke, and Luke's change never shows up in Matthew. So what that means
Right.
is that Mark is the original source material.
Yeah, so I have no problem agreeing that Mark is the original source material. I
There you go.
conceded that earlier. Okay.
You certainly
But when we
didn't.
say that, I agree that scholarly consensus is that Mark is the original source material.
Okay, and there's a
Okay.
reason for that.
But when we say that 90% of Mark appears in the other synoptics,
It
that
does.
that just means 90% of the stories. But for example, like you take one specific story that appears in Mark that might appear in Matthew. Matthew expounds on it. So
Yeah.
so the 90% is a little misleading because
No, it's not.
90% of the stories appear, but the content itself doesn't.
It does. Yeah, 90% of Mark shows up. More than 90% shows up in the other two synoptic
Not
gospels.
the stories, not the content.
No, the content.
No, I'm telling you, you're wrong on that.
Well, then you'd be wrong.
Okay, well, I guess agree to disagree. But I know for a fact that when we say 90%, we mean 90% of the stories. The content
Nope.
itself changes. Oh, okay. I mean, if you just want to lie, then sure.
I'm actually not lying. Between the two of us, I'm the only one that has studied this field. It's 97.2% of the words in Mark are in Matthew.
Okay, but
You can literally just go to the
Again,
Synoptic
we're-
Gospels
we're-
wiki
we're
page
talking
to
about-
find that statistic.
okay.
Random thoughts. It sounds like you actually don't know what you're talking about. I would avoid
yeah?
making definitive statements on topics you're not well versed in. It's fine to not know something, but it's silly to make definitive statements on things that you don't know. So the reason why these eyewitness accounts to me are completely silly is because they're full of dumb, contradictory ideas. The Gospels can't agree even on what day Jesus was killed or what time he was killed, and they can't even agree on simple stuff like who the fuck is John the Baptist? One gospel says that John the Baptist is the Elijah. John, his own gospel, says that John the Baptist is not the Elijah. Which is it?
Well, the answer would be that he would be the. I mean, he's not physically Elijah, but he's the fulfillment of the prophecy of Elijah being the one crying out in the wilderness.
Well, Jesus said he's not, or John.
Yeah, he's
said
not
that
physically
he's not.
Elijah.
Well, he says he's not coming
physically
of
Elijah.
Well,
Huh?
then that means he's got a problem. That means you can't tie him
Not a
to
problem.
Elijah.
He's
prophecy from Malachi chapter
Elijah-like
4.
figure without being Elijah. I don't see the contradiction there.
No, he's not. He's not anything like Elijah. Because in Malachi chapter 4, Elijah, the second coming of Elijah, was supposed to do something, wasn't he? What was he supposed to do?
He was supposed to prepare the way for the Messiah.
Not quite. It says, "See, I will send you the prophet Elijah before the great and terrible day of the Lord, before it comes. He will turn the hearts of the parents to their children and the hearts of their children to their parents, so that I will not come and strike the land with the curse." So the general idea is that before God comes back, there's going to be this prophet, the prophet Elijah, and he's going to have the people of Israel return to the Lord, so that when the Lord comes, nothing bad happens to the land of Israel. But that didn't happen when Jesus was around. They got their asses kicked by the Romans.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking more of in a spiritual sense.
So what does it mean to be the spiritual Elijah if nothing in the prophecy of Elijah here came true?
Well, how do you know that? I know. I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Crap! I gotta deal with this. All right, you know what? Good talking to you. I'll try again later.
Okay. Cheers. Well, that was fun. Does he know how to leave the room? I don't think he knows how to leave the room. I think he's still in the guest box. Oh, he's gone. Well, there's that. I got to be honest. I don't know if he's done many of these conversations before, huh?
Yeah, it makes you wonder.
Okay. Did he say he's a knower?
I don't remember. That'd be very funny if he did. Big
Yeah.
if true.
Well, I'm just going to write down, kind of crashed out on the Gospels. It's a shame we didn't get to do any fun stuff. like talk about how Matthew and Luke can't agree on when Jesus was born. That's one of my favorites. And, we'll get there. We got time still yet today. Let's get a couple of super chats, friends, and we'll get our next guest in here if we have one. Let me open up the TikTok guest box. I forgot to open the guest box back up. There we go. Oh, I got an empty guest box. Okay, listen, now's a great time while we're reading some super chats. If you wanted to get into the conversation, we got empty guest boxes, although we see someone's coming in on YouTube right now. But we're going to take a minute or two and read some super chats, and then we'll grab our next guest wherever they might be. From Bobby Ellis says, really off topic, but how do y'all find time for hobbies and things between live streams and debate? Well, I think it's going to be different for everybody. I'll say this. I don't have much time for stuff between debates, to be fair. Now that this is like my full-time thing, because even today when I'm done with this, I'm going to be on 2 other shows. But I don't know how y'all do it. Ella has got a crazy schedule, but I don't know what Ian's schedule's like.
Yeah, this is my hobby. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I kind of I slack off a lot. So like I do run my own lives, but I run my lives pretty rarely because like I'm usually pretty busy.
Right. And from Austin 316 says, during biblical times, what were the generally accepted styles when it came to maintaining one's pubic hair? Burning bush, Gaza Strip, Samson's curlies, sheep hair, or Moses Merkin? Oh boy.
That's crazy.
That is wild. Actually, believe it or not, the maintenance of pubic hair was primarily for women. Men didn't engage in all that type of stuff too often. However, there are some exceptions. Well, there are some exceptions, but if you were Egyptian, those were exceptions for you. If you lived in Palestine or even ancient Rome, women actually would take candles and they would do singeing. So rather than trying to cut like your hair off, you would take like a small candle, like an oil lamp, and you would just move it close enough to your hair to kind of singe the hair, but not burn the skin. And that's how they dealt with hair removal quite often.
That's horrible.
People have been finding ways to remove hair for a long time.
Ow.
Yeah, it is what it is. I'm seeing that we need a mod over on TikTok. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna mod Otter real quick before
even.
Yeah. Now it's Modder. Otter Modder. And Glitterlock as well. Hold on. There we go. We got some new mods. Sorry, we haven't really added a ton of mods to our TikTok account yet. That's on me. I haven't really been paying attention, but we got some mods now. When I see some more friendlies up in the chat, I'll add some more mods in so that we can keep the chat over there going. But yeah, people have been trying to remove hair for a long time. It's actually pretty common. Especially the Egyptians were obsessed with cleanliness. So they were like one of the pioneers, not of just hair removal, but also circumcision. Hey, under Dragos. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to preface, removing your hair is not more cleanly. It's actually more conducive of infection because like your hair technically is like protective of that, but okay.
That's a fair point. The ancient cultures considered it cleanliness, but you're right.
Yeah.
Same thing with circumcision. They thought that circumcision was a matter of cleanliness, and it turns out that's not really the case, as far as I'm aware. Drago says, for the chat, look at photos of the Tunguska event. Amazing how those trees fell, radiating 360 degrees from the center point of the explosion. Near impact. Evidence of design? Not. That's a fair point, actually. Something being uniform, I don't think is evidence of design. In fact, that's why I've got a couple cubes of natural pyrite with me. Perfect cube of pyrite. Not engineered, not designed. It literally formed naturally, just like this. I am the big cheese, says Marco Polo, and I think some others have accounts of travel to the east and seeing fantastical creatures and people with dog heads. True. Should we take these first-hand accounts as true? That is issue. You know what? I wanted to get to some of the other resurrection accounts. with that guess so we can kind of demonstrate like, hey, you know what? Just claiming to have witnessed these things isn't really good enough as an account. But we didn't really get there because he kind of got sidetracked on some nonsensical stuff. But what are you going to do? Kerrigan, thank you for the Super Chat X. As a forensic evidence tech, one-person accounts are the lowest form of evidence and always contradictory, not because of deception or pathology, but perception, perspective, comprehension, variables. Yeah, I mean they're unreliable, which is why you can't put somebody away on the evidence of like one testimony, right? Last super chat from the Big Cheese says, Justin, what is the historical evidence for how many apostles existed and who are they? Like Paul doesn't seem to be aware of Judas. Why would Jesus have a Sicarii in his people ministry? Okay, so there's some debate about Judas Iscariot, if he was one of the Sicarii. It seems like he was. And I think because Jesus did lead a revolutionary movement historically. So that's why you would expect that. Did he make Judas put his knife-wielding ways behind him? I don't know. Nevertheless, for the disciples, we have contradictory accounts. In the Talmud, like Sanhedrin 43, we've got different disciples. In fact, it says there were 5 disciples that were killed alongside Jesus. Different names. One of them sounded a lot like Matthew, but nonetheless different names. We're not sure if 12 is a mythological round number or if there really were 12 disciples. We don't have a good reason to believe that that was the case. Also, remember, even in the Gospels, Jesus says, including Judas, that the 12 of you will be ruling and reigning over the 12 tribes of Israel with me in the new kingdom. Which means Jesus didn't know that Judas was going to be gone. So there's some stuff. There's some like plot holes there, you know? Let's get Dan into the chat. Dan was next in line, and we'll get our next conversation going. Welcome in, Dan. Are you at least 18?
Oh, yeah, I am.
All right. And do you believe in God?
Yes, I do.
Awesome. Which God do you believe in?
I'm Muslim, so I believe in Allah.
Okay. What do you think is a good piece of evidence or argument for the Islamic God?
So in terms of establishing whether God exists or not, I prefer the contingency argument. So I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with that.
Yeah, do you want to lay out the argument?
Okay. If we lay it out, so we see that in the world, what we've observed is that everything is contingent or dependent on something else, contingent in different ways. So then you either get to the problem of either it's an infinite chain, but then you look at that and the infinite chain doesn't really make sense. So then there must have been an origin, which is a necessary being that is independent. That wasn't contingent on anything else. So that must have always been there.
When you're speaking of contingencies and necessities, are you speaking of like dependent things and independent things? Is that what you're using the terms to mean?
Yes, but also contingent can also include more things than just being dependent. For example, if something's made up of... Sorry?
I was just saying, like, so can necessity. The other way that you can use them, some people use contingency to mean something that could be one way, like it's possible but not necessary, basically.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Exactly.
So these are two very different arguments, so we just have to be clear that we're using the terms in like the consistent way. So...
Yeah, so with contingent, the way I see it is there's multiple ways for something to be contingent. So something can be contingent because it's dependent on something else, but it's also contingent because it can be conceived of and be a different way.
Oh, but then we would just be conflating between the two definitions. So for example, you can have things that couldn't possibly be any other way that are nevertheless dependent on things. Like maybe you want to say that God's love is dependent on God, but is nevertheless necessary. But it's just important, like you can pick any definition you want, we just have to be consistent with the definition.
Yeah, it's just with the argument, the way I prefer it is that contingent there's a few different types of contingency. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but in order to make sure like the argument is actually like a valid argument that doesn't like equivocate on the term contingency, you need to select just one definition. Otherwise, you know, you'd be like flipping between definitions across different premises.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Well, if you're saying like contingencies exist, as in like there are like these things that depend on other things, and then you reason towards the conclusion that you need like a necessary thing, and you flip from that definition, like the dependence definition, to the possibility definition, where oh, there needs to be a thing that couldn't have been otherwise. Well, the conclusion just doesn't follow.
I
But
think if instead of saying contingent is one thing, when I say contingent or contingency, I mean it's like a group of different types. It's like saying there's different types of being dependent.
so okay, but are you just speaking strictly of dependence? Are they all dependents?
In some ways, yeah. In some
Okay.
ways, that. In some ways, yeah.
So I think here's probably the biggest problem, which is that I can just accept that there is an independent being. Why would I think that the independent being ever makes it outside of like the natural world? Like why wouldn't
Okay,
I think
so
that there's like something natural that is like the independent being?
So you accept the necessary independent being.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then it follows, and we look at this necessary independent being, and then you think to yourself, well, intelligent, because with the contingency argument, you essentially also agree that something can't come from nothing.
That's fine.
Yeah. So then for intelligence, like we have, for it to come from a lack of intelligence is the same as saying something has come from nothing.
No, that doesn't follow. It could come from evolution. This is also like a total pivot away from the contingency argument. Like, why would I think in the contingency argument that we ever make it outside of the natural order?
When you say natural order, what do you mean?
Yeah, I don't know. We could just speak of like the things that are in line with like the laws of physics. Just like all the things that are described by laws of physics.
I like to call it the spatio-temporal realm.
Mm-hmm.
You okay with that?
Yeah, it's fine.
Naming?
Yeah.
So in my head, it's like it doesn't make sense when I'm looking at the contingency argument for us to believe that the necessary independent being is inside the spatio-temporal realm.
Why?
Because then it's dependent on the spatio-temporal realm.
But why couldn't the spatio-temporal realm itself be the independent thing?
Oh, so then you're saying, why couldn't the universe have created itself? Is that
No. Wait, so you don't want to say that that's what independent means. Otherwise, you end up... If you take independent to mean like the thing created itself, then you thinking God is independent means that you think that God created himself. I don't think you want to strum in the position that way.
No, I'm saying that's what you're saying right now. I'm not saying that's what I'm saying.
I didn't say that at all. You put that into my mouth.
No, you're saying, why didn't the spatio-temporal realm create itself?
No, why couldn't the spatio-temporal realm be the independent thing?
But then you're saying if the spatio-temporal realm is the independent thing, then it also created the spatio-temporal realm.
Why? Why would I think that the independent thing created the spatio-temporal realm? As opposed to just being the spatio-temporal realm?
What created the spatio-temporal realm then? Oh,
it's independent.
It's being the spatio-temporal realm.
It's independent, it's not created.
But we just agreed. The thing is, yeah, if I don't run through the whole argument, then we kind of get to this way. It's like I have to backtrack, isn't it?
Well,
and explain.
I'm quite familiar with the contingency argument. You just need to give some reason. Like, if the way that you're running it has to do with dependence, you need to give some reason to think that this like being is outside of the universe, as opposed to maybe just being like the universe itself.
Yeah. So then we go into part-whole relationships, because I'll say, look, the universe is contingent and dependent, and you'll say, why couldn't the universe have created itself? And then I say, well, if my favorite answer to this with part-whole relationships is, look, the parts inside the universe are all contingent. So the universe itself, which is a sum of all those parts as well, cannot be contingent. And then you'll say, well, that's a fallacy because an atom is small, but an elephant is big. Are you still with me?
Yeah, so here's the response that I would give. I could say that there are certain things that are dependent upon deeper things in the universe, but I could hold that the fundamental thing is like the various like quantum fields and the
Mm,
spatiotemporal fields, that the fields are fundamental,
yeah, and I'll
and
just
then
say
the
that
things that
because
emerge from them are derivative, contingent, dependent.
yeah, with quantum fields, the problem is because it's such a new field, even scientists are very struggling to understand it. There's no real evidence for anyone to say it's independent.
Oh, sorry, that's not even like a scientific claim. That's just a metaphysical claim. In the same way that your claim is a metaphysical claim, saying that
Mm,
the fields are independent is just a metaphysical claim. What you're trying to give
yeah,
is like some reason to think that it couldn't be the quantum fields that are independent, but like
yeah,
God is
because
independent.
yeah, I'd say it couldn't be the quantum fields because we don't really understand them.
We do.
So to say
I
that
think we
there's
do.
no evidence to say that they're do we fully?
I think we got a pretty good understanding of quite a few of them. So like the electromagnetic field we know very well, the electron
Mm,
field we know very well. There's some things that we're still trying to figure out, like the graviton. But like
right,
there's some fields we know very well, and some fields we're still figuring out.
Yeah. My
right.
understanding is that there's literally never been a single instance of a prediction made by quantum field theory that isn't empirically verified. Like, there's never been some hypothesis as to like what quantum field theory will predict, and then you do the experiment, and then something other than that happens. That it's like an
So
extremely well verified field.
is there any evidence for these quantum fields being uh, always there before the universe existed?
Before the wait, why would I think that there's like a before the universe existed as opposed to the universe always existing?
Well, that's why there's an age for the universe, isn't there? It's about is it 14 billion or something?
So that
14
age
billion years
refers to the time since like the rapid expansion of the universe. There's
since the
nothing
Big
claiming
Bang.
that yeah, but the Big Bang doesn't claim to be the beginning of the universe. There was like a recent survey of cosmologists where the majority opinion, 70% of them hold that the Big Bang theory is just a view that holds that the universe evolved from a hot dense state that says nothing about being like the absolute beginning of time.
But then we get to the infinite regress, don't we? Then I have to
Mhm.
explain why infinite regress doesn't make sense.
Wait, why doesn't infinite
You can
regress make
try.
sense?
Infinite regress doesn't make sense because then essentially nothing would exist if you had an infinite chain of dependent things.
Why?
Disagree.
Because you'd be going infinitely back in time. And
Okay.
then it would take an infinite amount of time to get to where we are.
Oh, sorry. That assumes like a
Hmm.
starting point.
Right.
But
There's no starting
if
point.
so,
But even if you pick a middle point, but then here's the thing, yeah, you're saying there's no beginning or end to anything. No beginning
well,
or
that's not
end
what I.
in the chain either.
That's not. I
Because
didn't. There are
infinite,
beginnings and ends to some things, just not the universe.
no, sorry, I meant to in the whole chain, you wouldn't have a beginning and an end because
Yeah.
it's infinite.
Yeah. What's the problem with that?
Yeah, the problem with that is that nothing would exist essentially. It's like
Why?
there's an analogy. So you have in our real world, it doesn't really make sense because then you have like problems. For example, let's say you had a hotel with infinite rooms and infinite guests,
Huh.
and you went and asked the hotel manager. You said, "Look, do you have a room tonight?" He says, "No, sorry, I've got infinite guests." Or you ask him, "Oh, are there any rooms free?" And if he says, "Yes, I do have a room free. I've got infinite rooms," you'll say, "Oh, well, you had the infinite guests." It doesn't make sense. Infinity doesn't really make sense in the spatio-temporal realm to actually exist.
Wait, but that's just true of every infinity, right? Like you could make this
Not
argument against
every,
any infinity. Like this would be a disproof of God, even. Like I could
not
ask you,
not
how many
every
things does
infinity.
God know, and you would say infinite.
Right.
Not every infinity.
It would also be
Because
true too that the solution to Hilbert's hotel is infinity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as a math degree haver, I don't share the intuitions that there's like something weird going on here. The infinity is
infinity
just like
works
this.
mathematically. Infinity works mathematically, but it doesn't work practically
Yeah, it
in
does.
the actual world. So I'll say
So
the infinity. Sorry, just let me finish this point, please. So infinity doesn't exist apart from, sorry, when there's two conditions on it. One of the condition is that the infinite things coexist and that they're ordered one after the other.
infinite things coexist and they're ordered one after the other?
Yeah.
What?
Okay,
like
does
an
God
infinite
know every
chain of
number?
things causing other things.
Do you think God knows every number?
Numbers are because are numbers things, or is it more like tautology, isn't it?
I think that you could hold that they're things, but certainly God's beliefs are things, or his knowledge is a thing.
So the thing is with Muslims is once we get to the point where it's like, yeah, okay, I believe that God exists, and about his infinite knowledge and infinite everything, all his attributes, etc. We get to the point where we say, look, as Muslims, we're slightly different from the Christians, or very different. We won't try and explain God in that way. We don't actually try and explain, oh, God's like this, God's knowledge like this, he's made up of parts, or this is how he sees and that. We just leave it up to God to explain what he wants to us, and then we just believe in it because we've got to the point where, yeah, we understand God exists, we've looked at his miracles, etc. That's how Muslims are. We don't try and explain all these little details about God because we feel like we're not. It's like a frog trying to understand a human being. It's different, completely different life form. We can't understand him completely.
Okay,
We only know him from what he's told us.
Do you think God has the power to create a Hilbert's hotel?
So these things are kind of things we wouldn't even delve into. You know what I mean?
I can't help but notice that that's like very not an answer to the question.
No, as in like it comes to the point where it's like, why would I need an answer to that if God never told me I needed an answer to that? You know, if I can get to the basis of God exists, and there's a very good reason, and probabilistically that he exists, and then he explains himself to me, why do I need more answers than that? Because he's the all-wise. Does that make sense?
So
I'm not trying to convince you of that argument. That's not my argument. I'm just telling you that's how Muslims behave, and that's how if someone asks us a question like, oh, can God create a stone that he can't lift? We just say that because it's like, it might even be a logical impossibility. Is he bound by logic? I don't know. But he hasn't told us any of that. Okay.
Wait. I have a few issues with what you're saying. First issue is that you seem to know a lot about God and a lot about the universe, and yet nothing at the same time. You like, as soon as we get to a point where Ian asks you a question about like a quality that God could have, you say, I don't know. But then you seem to make a bunch of assertions about what God is. The second thing that I have an issue with is that you are saying that a cause after a cause after a cause doesn't make sense. Well, a lot of things in the universe aren't just poofing into existence and caused by each other. It's like a transformation. So it's not in the same way like matter coming into existence or something like that. Like it's not an instant poof creation. We don't see nothing, like something coming from nothing. And so you would have to explain why something coming from nothing makes sense if there's a God.
No, I'm the one saying that it doesn't make sense for something to come from nothing.
But you think that God created out of nothing?
That's
no, I think God was always there.
Yeah, but what materials did God create out of?
I don't know. That's the thing. It gets to a point where it's like, I don't know. Only God knows.
Did the materials pre-exist, or did they come into existence?
You're talking about the materials of the spatio-temporal realm, or the
materials that God
himself?
created out of?
Oh, that God created us out of.
Yeah, that God created like the universe out of. Did those materials pre-exist, or did God have to bring them into existence?
God just says be, and it is.
Yeah, exactly. So he creates out of nothing.
Material, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Seems like a creation out of nothing, and it seems like every time we see something come into existence, it's out of something.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So why would it be an infinite chain of that?
There can't be an infinite chain of that because of. So we spoke about Hilbert's Hotel, how it doesn't make sense. There is another one. Oh,
you still haven't given us a reason.
So okay,
do you think about Hilbert's Hotel example?
Do you think moments of time exist?
So then there's two different theories of time, isn't there? But,
there are.
My argument, it really doesn't depend on time. My argument.
I'm asking you, do you think moments of time exist?
I mean, I do from my perspective. Yeah, they do. I believe in the A theory. Well, from my perspective, it's the A theory.
Yeah, but how many moments of time exist?
I don't know.
Maybe infinite?
I'm not sure. I have no idea.
But between every 2 moments, you can subdivide that further into like a third moment.
So God says in the Quran, Allah says in the Quran that do not curse time, for I am time. A lot of scholars believe that it's because Allah created time. So it's no one really knows except God these questions. Like
Well,
for me,
wait,
it's like we have the contingency argument, right? That's to explain God's existence. And then I'm not trying to explain how God is. I'm just saying my argument is just to prove that he exists. Does that make
yeah,
sense?
wait, that's all great, but you need to engage with like the questions, right? Do you think that between every 2 moments of time, there's going to be like a third moment of time? Like between this moment and this moment, there's going to be like some midpoint between them.
You
There's
can
like a
say I
middle
need to
moment.
engage all the questions, but if I don't understand the relevance, do
The
I need to?
relevance is that I'm demonstrating to you that you believe in actual infinities.
Oh, okay. But if I believe time has a beginning and time has an end and it's not infinite,
You believe in
then
infinite
how would
moments
it?
of time, though, because time is dense. That is to say that between any 2
Because
moments of time, there's a third moment of time in between them. We
if
traverse
you keep cutting
infinite
it,
time constantly.
if you keep fractionalizing it, you're saying,
Yeah, that there are infinite moments of time
yeah.
that get traversed.
So when I said that infinity can't exist with the two conditions of coexistence and ordering, time isn't coexisting.
Oh, we have
So
good evidence that it is. Yeah, like the
do
B
we?
theory of time is like for sure true. For
Really?
example, like all the evidence that comes out of general relativity. So when things are traveling at close to the speed of light, they're going to experience different rates of time passage. So if I were in like a rocket ship traveling at close to the speed of light, I would experience less time than you staying here on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
How would you explain that if there's only one present moment?
No, but how does that explain time is infinite?
That demonstrates that the B theory of time is true.
That everything is happening at once, but it's just a person's perspective. Is that correct?
That all moments are actual, but they're actual at different times. That there is no genuine coming into existence or going out of existence, that's purely perspective based on where you are in the timeline.
All moments are actual. Sorry, say that again, please.
Yeah, all moments are actual, but they're at different times. So
Yeah.
10 minutes from
So
now
are
is
they?
actual, but it's actual 10 minutes from now.
But even if we said all moments are actual, right? All moments are actual. But if
Yep.
I said that there was a beginning point and an end point for time, then it's not infinite, is it?
So, but then you would have to agree that indeed time is the thing that coexists. So here's been the conversation. You've tried to get away from the fact that there are infinite moments of time by saying that only one moment exists at any time, or only one moment is actual. But if the B theory of time is true, then all moments are actual. So they're ordered and they do
Are they ordered?
coexist. Yeah,
They're
time is
ordered and they
ordered.
coexist.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an interesting one. So I'm going to go back and look in that. That's because that's an interesting thing for me to look into.
Sure.
But it doesn't refute most of my arguments. It just
yeah, go for it.
No, I was just saying, yeah, it doesn't refute my argument. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It refutes my argument for the infinite conditions, infinity. But there's another one for that anyway. But yeah. But that's just you saying that God can't be infinite.
Well, what I'm saying is that there could be an infinite regress of times. And in fact, I think we have good reason to think that, if time came into existence, then there would be a change. I mean, if you don't have time, then everything is changeless. But, going from this changeless state to a changing state would itself be a change. So that obviously can't be, which means that time can't come into existence because that would require like change to come into existence before change exists.
So what you're saying is that time is infinite, but
it must be. It can't be created.
So if I go look into B theory of time, it's like 100% dead sure, dead accurate. There's evidence that says there's no other possible way that time is.
Yeah, if general relativity is
take your word for
true,
it.
then the B theory of time is true. It's like pretty point blank.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna look into that. But then, so you accepted that there was an independent being, though, didn't you?
Yeah, we could say like the universe
I'm just gonna give
itself
my
is the
reason.
independent being.
Yeah. I'm just gonna give my reason why I feel like it's the Islamic God, and then I'll come back another time. But my reasoning is that obviously, I said, look, intelligence can't come from a lack of intelligence. That's my belief. And then you said evolution, and then I'll say, well, the rational mind is not necessarily a successful evolutionary trait. In fact, sometimes it goes against evolution. The rational mind. Sometimes people commit, for example, people commit suicide, things like that. It makes you depressed. It doesn't make you want to procreate sometimes, stuff like that. So I say, where did the rational mind come from then? Because it's not really
Wait. Because of the mechanisms of evolution itself. The mechanism of evolution is like the very basic understanding of what drives evolution is mutations. And so if these mutations occur, you're going to have some deleterious mutations and some favorable mutations. Evolution is not just looking at the favorable mutations. So every now and again, you're going to have a mutation that strays away from what actually is quote unquote beneficial to the species. That's why we see things like Huntington's disease, ALS, and other ALS can be genetically predisposed and may also not be, but Huntington's disease and genetically predisposed ALS and other genetically linked diseases, that's a product of one of the mechanisms of evolution. Evolution doesn't pick and choose. It's mostly based off of natural selection, genetic drift, gene flow, and mutations. So it's like it being favorable for evolution. That's not really a thing.
But the trouble is, like, these mutations, yeah, I agree. It's not like the whole human race has ALS, this and that, you know. I mean, but everyone
the
has.
The majority of the human race that's the point, is the majority of the human race is has a decent level of dexterity in their fingers. They have some intelligence. They're able to communicate and be communal with each other. And that's the reason why we see like a specific rate of cancer in the human race when compared to other species that are actually even more communal. That's why we see specific traits in humans that we may not see in other species that may be deleterious for them, but favorable for us. And so like being rational in the specific way that we are is favorable for our survival, which is why the majority of us have this trait. And there are some of us who don't have this trait. There are some people who are not as rational, not as empathetic than other people. But on a large scale basis, we have empathy. On a large scale basis, we do have rational thought.
Yeah, and then I'd say, look, the rational mind goes far beyond what's even conducive to survival. It goes like even us asking the questions now, us having this debate now, it's like, well, why wouldn't we just focus on making money, making food, getting in a relationship, rather than us debating whether God exists, where do we come from? It's far beyond that. And it's not like it's just a few people who have that. Majority of humans do have that. Whereas with ALS, only like maybe a minority get it, etc.
We don't have claws, we don't have teeth, we don't have really strong we're not the strongest animals alive. And so there are ways in which animals beat us out. For example, dolphins can communicate with pilot whales. I can't communicate with my cat. So there are animals that can communicate across species lines. And so like where you're talking about what is beyond our survival, I would actually say it's perfect for our survival. The ability to rationalize how to use a tool and being able to understand what a tool is used for versus what a tool is not used for on a general basis can help us organize our thoughts and organize the way that we live, making us more productive in society in our own communities. So I would actually say that the way that we rationalize and have our intelligence is perfect for our species based off of how we live. Now, yes, it's not always going to be quote unquote perfect, but generally speaking, the way that we've evolved is what you would expect.
I would say, like, for that example specifically, I would say, look, even like a monkey knows how to use a tool, you know. If you just,
Not
it
to the
can
degree that
eventually learn to.
not to the
Sorry?
degree that we do. Not to the degree that we do. Not all
How do you
monkeys
mean?
are the same, and not all apes are the same, I should say.
So you see monkeys using tools, like a hammer with a nail. And it's like, there's a certain level where, yeah, it's conducive to survival. We've gone far beyond that. Way
That's not
beyond
true.
that.
You don't have any evidence to suggest this.
But,
Because
like,
I just said, like, why do we even think about, for example, look at the world now. Why is the population declining?
humans kick ass at survival. Are you kidding? Like, the fact that we've been able to do this, you know, we've been able to like create society is because we're so incredible at like thinking through this. Like, this is obviously a huge survival benefit.
But
Like,
then I
there's
say, why is it now the population is declining? Why are we anti-survival now?
Probably like social. Well, first of all, population is still growing, but second of all, that comes down to social reasons.
yeah.
So
We're
exactly, I say this.
we're considered a tribalistic species. That's one of the reasons why we have slightly higher rates of cancer compared to whales, giraffes, and deer, is because we're not fully communal. We don't fully cooperate with each other in the same way that those animals do. As a result, cancer rates are slightly higher.
I do want to continue this discussion, but I just have before I go, I just had a question I really wanted to ask, is that, is there any evidence for one species changing into another with evolution? Because all I've heard is that there's only evidence that
Ring
obviously
species.
animals adapt and then change,
Ring
but they're
species.
still the same animal.
Ring species. No, they're not. They can't
Ring
procreate with each
species.
other. Yes, they're called ring species. And it's when there's a large obstacle in the way. Specifically, there's a particular bird that flew around the Himalaya. Well, not the bird itself, but like species of this bird. And they speciated a little bit at a time. By the time the last speciation event occurred, it could not procreate with the original bird that had been at the other part of the mountain. And we see this also in rabbits. You also can see this to a degree in some laboratory animals. So, for example, field mice are kind of like the more wild version of what we consider to be mus musculus, which is the house mouse that we use in research. And it probably is not very viable in terms of the ability to procreate.
But isn't that like they're still similar animals? It's not like going from a monkey to a human.
That's where we have other evidence for. So, for example, there's chromosomal fusion sites on basically our genome, which show where specific chromosomes had fused together, leading to one less chromosome in humans compared to other great apes. We also have breakpoint sites as well, and we're able to see these specific structures in the genome, specifically chromosomes, which provide us with evidence for how we speciated from one, like being great apes, to being humans. And the same mechanism is actually proposed to be of like how these fusions and breakpoints occur is proposed to be one of the reasons why cancer develops, is because specific chromosomes can be trapped in these little extra bubbles inside of the cell, resulting in like a second pseudonucleus. Usually these cells die off, but if they don't die off, then you might have a deletion or a fusion or a weird placement of that chromosome. And so that's one of the reasons why you might see some drastic differences in viability from one generation to another.
So, and in terms of probability, because I know history, everything is probabilistic. What is the probability of these evidences being 100% true?
It's not really a probability thing. We literally see these genomic fusion sites. So if you want the specific sites that I'm referring to, so the title is Genomic Structure and Evolution of the Ancestral Chromosome Fusion Site in 2q13 to 2q14.1 in paralogous regions on other human chromosomes. There's genomic structure and paralogous regions of the inversion breakpoint occurring between human chromosome 3p12.3 and orangutan chromosome 2. There's also breakpoint analysis of the pericentric inversion distinguishing human chromosome 4 from the homologous chromosome in the chimpanzee. There is also conservation of the pericentromeric duplications of a 200 kilobase part of the human 21q22.1 region in primates. So we actually have these regions, and we know that they're different because the ends of the chromosome and specific regions of the chromosome have similar sequences. And depending on how similar those sequences are and whether or not there's also the ends of the chromosome in the middle of where a normal chromosome should be, we'll see these repeats called telomeres, which are not expected to be in the middle of the chromosome. They're more expected to be on the ends and in the middle, mainly because repeats are usually indicative of either a virus or these specific parts of the chromosome. The centromere is where specific proteins interlock for segregation, and then the telomeres help to protect the ends.
So if I was going to look up, so I'll look up genomic sites evidence of evolution on Google
You
or
can
whatever.
just look up those specific studies if you'd like. I have all of the links to those studies that I just cited on a document that's on my link tree. If you go to the link tree link, scroll down, sources for discussion, press it, and then the sources are under abiogenesis. And if you just look up genomic structure, do like Command F, genomic structure, you'll find all four studies in the same area.
So your link tree is on your Instagram?
Yeah, link tree on my Instagram and also on my TikTok. You go to the link tree, you click on it, scroll down, sources for discussion, and then in that document, go to the abiogenesis tab, and then just do Command F, genomic structure.
Okay, so it's on, is it Scientific Snitch? That's your Insta?
Yeah, you could go to my Instagram or TikTok, yeah.
Okay, all right, thanks. You know, it's very frustrating. Every time I come on here, I have to go away with homework. But anyway, thanks, guys.
Yeah, hey, thanks so much for coming on up. Appreciate you.
Yeah, cheers, bye.
That was interesting.
Justin, your mic is muted. I don't know if you were trying to talk.
Sorry, yeah.
You must have thought that we were talking over you and being like rude as shit or something.
No, it's fine. When I went to the bathroom recently, I forgot to put my mic back on. We've talked to Dan before. I recognize, because he's the only Muslim we've ever talked to with the name Dan. And the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, you don't get that too often. But he's been kind, I think, every time he's been up here so far. So he gets bonus points for that.
Definitely.
Friends, we've got, right now, believe it or not, an empty queue, but we do have a bunch of super chats to read. So we're going to read some super chats. And if you want to join in the conversation, now is a great time to join the conversation. We've got a surprisingly empty queue because TikTok, I believe, has restricted us so many times that it won't push us out to anyone new today. Which all of our guests, almost all of them, have been coming through our YouTube stream. So it looks like that's going to be the name of the game today. So if you want to get in, now's a great time to get in. If you want to talk biology, today is a great day to talk about biology because we got Scientific Snitch with us. Usually we've got Dr. Blitz doing physics with us, but today we've got a biology guru. So today's the day, if you want to talk about biology, that we've got someone that could engage. I'm not a biology person, so I'm not that person. I could tell you about the Bible. That's about it. But let me grab some super chats, friends. From Kurt, another super chat says, I don't refer to myself in the third person. Next sentence, I would call myself the one whom Jesus loved. He can't stop himself. He was all over the place. And to be fair, I think what was happening, and I could be wrong, I think he was feeling some panic and just started saying stuff. You know, sometimes you get panic and words just leave your mouth that shouldn't be leaving your mouth. Censored, thank you for the 65 SEK divine command theory. All God does is good, people. How do you know that any recent murderer wasn't told by God to do it? That's a fair point. We bring up, what was the name of that woman recently that executed her children and said God told her to do it? You guys remember that?
I remember seeing
that. I think I remember that.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time remembering now. Yeah, it's scary because under divine command theory, that, you know, the people that are executing their children, I mean, kind of like, you know, they've got an excuse, I guess you would say. I mean, the Bible actually does kind of allow for that type of a behavior. The question is, how do you demonstrate that God told you to do it? And in the Bible, you're kind of told not to question that kind of stuff. You just have to believe anyways. So that means if someone tells you that, you kind of have to believe them. And Let's see. Pincer Krister, thank you for the super chat, friend. Says, I never get why Christians keep making an immortal dude who plan to resurrect a big deal. Humans had people sacrificing life for loved ones without any superpowers or afterlife guarantees. Which sacrifice has more value? This is a fair point. So when it comes to like religious devotees being willing to like sacrifice their life for the religion, it seems to be pretty abundant, whether you believe the claims of the religion or not. In fact, even in early Mormonism, there were martyrs. So, like, and Mormonism is demonstrably not true. Like, we had grandparents almost alive when Mormonism was happening. It just, we have fucking newspapers showing that Joseph Smith was arrested and prosecuted for fraud, but yet people will give their life for it. Jen says, as a fellow zebra, love to snitch. Thank you all for getting me through the second hip surgery in 8 months. Damn, that's tough. Rock for Doug in all the hashtags. Yeah, big W for snitch. Joining us on late notice, by the way, like moments before the stream, we're like, hey, let's contact Snitch. So huge W coming out on short notice. I messaged Blitz this morning. Blitz says, oh, I can't make it. I'm in an airport. I was like, oh, shoot. We got to find somebody. And then Blitz was like, what about Snitch? I was like, yeah, let's get Snitch.
I was literally writing my thesis when you texted me, and I was stuck on a sentence. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna hop on.
Anyway, sorry to distract you from your thesis. We're glad that you're here rather than, doing valuable work on your thesis. Mike Bowen, the sermon slaughter, getting. Listen, you got time to finish your thesis,
Yeah, I'm a little bit ahead. I work all the time, so honestly, it's a good break.
Yeah, so you'd be fine. Oops, sorry, I gotta click that super chat one more time from Mike Bowen. Here we go. Sermon slaughter getting dunked on over and over by Justin and saying "Amen, glory be to God" every time is.
Listen, the Bible's full of contradictions. Amen. None of it makes any sense. Glory be to God.
If you just don't acknowledge it, it never happened. That's the trick.
Yeah.
And Kurt says the cake is a lie. That I don't know if that's true though.
Wait, Justin? Do you get the reference?
I've heard the reference. I have no idea what it means.
It's from Portal.
I have no idea what that is.
I do remember that.
Yeah,
I'm an absolute loser, y'all. I don't know any of this stuff.
Oh no.
Oh, it's such a good game, and the cake is a lie, and it's like a dark forest. What is it? A Black Forest cherry chocolate cake type thing.
I think I
love cake.
That sounds right.
I would say this. Portal. I'd be mad if someone said there was cake and there was no cake. Is that the general?
You are too in Portal. You're pissed.
Okay. I'd be pissed. Okay. Fair enough. Also, from I Am the Big Cheese, the irony is John thought he was beloved. He was the beloved disciple, but Jesus just was not into him. A real Ralph Wiggum Simpsons of the Jesus followers. So many references I don't know.
Oh, you don't know that one?
I'm allergic to fun and pop culture and all this stuff. It's a problem. It's a real problem. I want to tell you.
Look, it's okay. It's okay, Justin, because I've never watched SpongeBob before. So
see, exactly. Well, he's under the sea. Eat Some Short says, "Save the tips. Very weird that the U.S. still tolerates mutilation on babies." Actually, I've kind of talked about this recently on stream. It is. Is it time for the new generation to bring the no more circumcision movement? Are we ready for that? I think it's probably time.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I can't imagine like fucking mutilating my like unconsenting child.
Right. Yeah. And they'll tell you that like they don't feel it, it doesn't hurt them, but that when my son got circumcised, he fucking felt it and I heard it, and I'll never do that again. That was crazy that they would just lie to you to your face.
Yeah, what the fuck? That's as silly as saying, like, well, I mean, first, like, how they possibly know that they don't feel it? Like, What the fuck? It's by this logic, like, oh, if I punch my baby, will they not feel it? Like,
Well, back in the day, they
It's so
used to
true.
even do
It's
like
so
surgery on babies because they thought that they didn't feel the pain without anesthesia. They're just like fresh babies, just cutting them open, and that
holy
was
shit.
isn't that crazy? Like
That's that's like pretty insane, actually. Yeah.
like back in the 60s and 70s, they were still doing that.
Yeah, no baby has ever complained about it, so they probably just can't feel it.
That's
Oh my
crazy.
god. That reminds me of like IUD insertions for women. It's like the same deal. Like, don't worry, guys. It's just a big sharp scissor. Not gonna hurt you at all.
Oh,
The worst that could happen. Well, and now that we got Ellie here, I mean, question on the circumcision front: is there actually a benefit to it, or is this
No,
all mythology?
it's all mythology.
Okay, that's kind of my assumption. All right.
Yeah,
I've looked
there's no
for
reason.
evidence. I couldn't find any evidence.
Yeah, it's all mythology. It's so stupid.
Okay. Yep. Stop the genital mutilation, y'all. Milf Wrangler says, glad y'all can make money doing what you enjoy, full time or otherwise. Well, thank you, Milf Wrangler. And as we've stated, these shows are all crowdfunded. We don't have big supporters like those goofy right wing shows, the Ben Shabibos and things like that. We don't have Russian money coming into our streams. Our streams are only possible because we have an awesome, awesome community that supports our work. And so, big W to the community that supports our work. And we really do appreciate it. And honestly, we think like the reason why we're doing this is not because we just get to do it, it's because we actually think we're helping. Like, this is religion is a plague for not and not entirely, but it seems to be a huge problem, at least at this point in history. And I think the truth matters. And from Jeff says, is a theistic claim against infinite regress special pleading? In other words, in an infinite number of possible worlds or points, this one is impossible according to that claim.
an infinite number of possible worlds. This one is impossible. Not necessarily. Well, so I'm not sure that there's like a thing that they're being inconsistent about. I just think the arguments are bad. I think that the arguments that attempt to prove that infinite regresses can't happen, they all kind of suck. Like they're just really bad arguments. But in order for there to be like special pleading, there would need to be something that they're like inconsistent about. Like they're applying it inconsistently. Maybe they're special pleading when they say that God has like infinite knowledge or like infinite power, but I don't know.
Yeah. I am intrigued though, like to when you say that the universe existed eternally, it's weird that they have a problem with that, but then they don't have a problem with saying God existed infinitely or eternally, but they
Yeah.
want to make God outside of time somehow. And I don't understand why they think that God can do like anything outside of time. If God existed eternally, it like logically it seems like he just existed for all of time and time just has
Mhm.
always existed. Or like I don't know, maybe time is emergent. That's one explanation. But if time is emergent, well, that means we didn't need time for the creation or let's say, we didn't need time for the pre-matter state of the universe. Meaning, if the universe was just quantum fields, we didn't need time for that. So
Mhm.
time isn't a problem for either of us in that particular viewpoint. I don't know. It's just weird to me that they think God existed forever, but they can't grasp that the universe existed forever.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyways, Jeff, I hope that answered your question. So shockingly, friends, no opposition. We do have, by the way, we do have a ton of super chats that we didn't read yet. I'm more than happy to read through the super chats, but for the sake of the show, we'd love to have another guest in here. We've got time for at least one more guest. I'll read what's left of our super chats while we're waiting for some opposition to load up. And shockingly, usually about this time in the live stream, we've got more guests that we can even get to. They usually about halfway through the stream start piling in, and then we end up having to exit the stream with more guests than we can talk to. Today's kind of been a weird one. Miko says, Count Binface. I was mixed up with Lord Buckethead. Oh.
That's right. He said Lord Benface, but it's Camp Benface. What a basic blunder.
these technicalities I did not catch because I have no idea who these individuals are. Hunter Girl, good to see you, says Marx is the Republican nominee for Colorado governor. Oh, oh, I think Ian mentioned that actually earlier.
Yeah,
Cleared that
yeah,
up.
he
Yeah.
has some wacky shit. He wrote a book titled "Through God, All Things Are Possible."
Oh no. Sure they are. Sure they are. Relax with Russell. Thank you for the super chat. Says gaslighting is fruits of the spirit. True. When it when it doesn't make sense, just assert that it's true. It'll sound true eventually. And also, Justin, you got to put a shirt on, Lamau. Actually, it's hot. Okay, it's hot and humid where I'm at, and I don't think I have to. Maybe I do. I don't know. Nevertheless, listen, I've gotten a lot of positive feedback on wearing tankies. No one seems to be offended by it. I'm not showing any boob, like my nipples aren't exposed or anything. So I don't know. If the tank top is a problem for you, Russell, maybe I'll switch back to black t-shirts. Kurt says, "Gotta put the guns away, Justin. It's too much for TikTok." Oh, do you think TikTok's banning me because I'm wearing a tank top?
Wow, did you just save all the Glaze comments for this moment?
No, they were at the very beginning of the stream, and I just didn't get to them yet because we were fiddling around. We do have one guest in the guest box, so let me grab these two super chats. We'll get our next guest in here. Resistance says, "Imagine being so insecure in your beliefs that you need to turn to other religious mentions of your own, despite those religions denying your own." Yeah, exactly. The minute you turn to the Quran to demonstrate Jesus, you got a kind of a huge problem. It's not going to help you all that much. Let's get it looks like H from the YouTube queue, and then we'll get HDJCJFJFM from the TikTok queue. Quite a name. Quite a name. Welcome in, H. Are you at least 18? And do you believe in God? H. Are you
Oh
with us?
no.
Yeah, could you hear me?
There you go. We got you
Yes.
now, H.
Okay. Good evening or good day, wherever you are.
Sure.
You asking a question if I do believe in God?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes.
Yes, of course I do believe in God.
Cool. All right. Which one?
Okay. Which one?
This is a massive delay.
Yeah, this delay is pretty catastrophic. I can't lie.
I think it's either a delay or she's not listening. I can't tell.
No, it must be a delay. This is like
Okay, so
crazy.
I can hear you. I can hear you now
When do you
clearly.
hear this? Tell me when.
Okay, just now I can hear you as you speak.
It's a bit of a delay.
We'll see if I work through it. So H, which God do you believe in?
I believe in God of the Bible.
Sure. And what's a good reason to think that this God is real?
Because there's a lot of studies that really doesn't come up with some conclusions on whether he's real or not.
Mm.
And then it's not just based on the Bible. I've had several of these conversations with many people, and then we go up on the Big Bang Theory, and then we have the evolution just coming back and forth. And then there's just so many theories that don't add up as to why we should not believe that he's not real.
So
I
yeah, go ahead.
we I think we need to first establish. You said there's a lot of studies. What's the DOI for these studies that you're referring to?
Yeah, what's how could you possibly like research that's like kind of like an
It's not
impossible to
really a
research topic, like whether or not like God exists. Like I don't think that's the sort of thing that you can research in like a scientific way.
yeah. That's what I'm asking. Like, I think we need some DOIs. DOIs, PMIDs. I would
Okay, so
even
we
explain orgling.
I don't know if H is fully connected, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
think so either.
I'm not hearing a response. Oh, and H is gone. H, my friend, get some Wi-Fi and come back and try again. With your current connection, though, I'm afraid it's probably not gonna work out. Your connection's just too weak to make this happen. All right, we'll get HD. HD,
Hello?
welcome in. Are you at least 18?
Yes, 19.
Awesome. And do you believe in God?
Yeah, I do. I actually I saw you guys didn't have any guests, so I thought maybe I could ask a question about a argument Ian made. I've heard him made a few times, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I heard you making like an argument against the like historic view of God, that he's like outside of time, right? And saying he couldn't have caused the universe.
Yeah, I think that there's quite a few problems with God being outside of time, but for sure it seems like if God's outside of time, then the universe just must be eternal because God's act of creation
Yeah.
must just be eternal.
Yeah, right, because like a change of states like requires time, right?
Yeah, well, all changes require time. You can't have
Yeah.
this atemporal God go from not creating to creating.
Yeah. So just to clarify, because as far as I knew, maybe this is like the problem for me, but I thought the Big Bang obviously doesn't posit that that's like the beginning of the universe. I know that, but I think it does posit that it's the beginning of time, right?
No. You could have time
Oh, it
existing
doesn't.
infinitely before the Big Bang. All it states is that
Oh,
the
okay,
universe
okay,
is in a
then
hot, dense
okay.
state and then rapidly expands. That's kind of what all the evidence
Okay,
indicates.
my bad, because I heard all these people saying like it doesn't make sense to ask what came before the Big Bang because time started at the Big Bang, but I guess that's not even true then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like it's up for debate. What came before the Big Bang,
Yeah.
if anything?
There was a time when
Yeah,
people
right.
used to say that, like in the early days of Stephen Hawking's career, he would say that kind of thing. But towards the end of his career, he seemed to go back on that.
Yeah, right. Because then obviously you would have the same problem, right? Because you couldn't have had a cause then if there wasn't time.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. Then I guess just for fun, I'll run like the transcendental argument. You've probably heard it like a billion times before.
Sure.
Yeah, I love it.
But yeah, just yeah, I'd love you to challenge it a bit. So I would say like stuff like transcendental categories like knowledge and like being able to rationalize like concepts. I feel like is better explained under a theistic worldview than maybe an atheistic worldview. Or like I couldn't even like see how it would work in an atheistic worldview. Maybe you could like explain that for me.
Yeah, I mean, our brains have these abilities to represent things external to ourselves. It's our representational abilities. And then by representing things, you have like a distinct like thought in mind. This has like tons of survival benefits. You're able to like think critically. You're able to represent different elements, move them around in your head, imagine them being otherwise. But in order to represent things, you need logic. Logic is what allows for things like consistent identity in your thoughts. It's just kind of like an abstraction of the representation process.
Okay, yeah, because I get obviously that maybe something like senses could be like evolutionary, like good to have, like that would make sense. But like being able to utilize logic and like these laws of logic, I don't see how they would have any like evolutionary pros.
You would need logic to interpret those senses.
Yeah. In order to form thoughts that are coherent, you need to think through them in like logical, self-consistent ways. Otherwise, your thoughts aren't about anything if they're not self-consistent. So they wouldn't be useful.
How so?
Yeah. Let's say that you have a thought and it's about a thing that isn't itself. Well, it's not even a thought that's about anything. It doesn't have an identity to it. So it can't map onto anything in reality. It's useless. It doesn't even pick out like a specific like thing. not even like an imaginary thing. Like there's just nothing there.
Okay. I think I see what you mean then. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess, and maybe that's a good argument. I'll look more into it then. Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Is
Right,
there anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that's it for me. I don't think I have any way better arguments than that right now.
Yep. Okay. Hey, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Cheers.
Yep.
Well, we got
That was
one
chill.
guest in there. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. We got some chill ones.
I'm intrigued though, like why we keep hearing tag so often. When people learn tag, do they not learn why it's so weak?
I think that this is, no. In fact, I do think that I think it preys upon like a real thing, which is that there are like certain like widespread beliefs among atheists. Like I think that tag is a response to like cringy like new atheist positions that are just like totally indefensible. And I don't know. I just think that it's like I think that the tag people are set up for failure by whoever taught them tag, just because there are like so many different viewpoints like an atheist could hold. You could literally be like a Buddhist and an atheist, and then you could say like logic comes from like the fucking like cycle of suffering, samsara. You know, it's like there's just so many options for the atheist. It's like so silly to say that an atheist couldn't possibly account for this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really strange. Friends, we've got some more super chats, but no more guests. So let me read through what's left of our super chats, and we've got time for like one more decent conversation still yet. So if you want to get in and give us an argument for God, or maybe an argument against an eternal universe, or maybe an argument against evolution, that type of thing, or against abiogenesis, or you want to give an argument for why Jesus actually resurrected for the dead. I don't know why you would do that. You're welcome to do that. Also, Amir, my friend, thank you for sending out one unapologetic gifted membership. Super appreciate that. And also, DD Main, thank you for the $2 super thanks. And the Night Ni says it's hurricane season on the finely tuned Earth. True. The fine tuning argument's weird to me, that God would spend all the time like designing all this just to be like, well, we're gonna go fuck them up pretty good though.
Yeah. It's hurricane time.
I guess for entertainment. God gets bored. He needs some UFC action.
Yeah.
And I'm the big cheese. Thank you for the super chat.
You're lagging out.
Hold on, it's coming. There we go. Took a second to get there. Beauty is subjective and culturally formed. Imagine some intelligent alien life not visiting Earth because humans are too gross and ugly. That's actually fair. I would imagine if aliens came here, like they wouldn't have a reason to find us attractive. Like we don't look anything like them.
Yeah, maybe they'd think that we're like novel, right? Like when I look at like, you know, when I look at like other animals, I'm like, wow, that's pretty novel, cute even, but definitely not like attractive or something. So maybe
Right.
aliens would feel that way about us.
That could be the case. We do have one guest in the guest box, toxic misogynist, which shockingly I've talked to and is not toxic or misogynistic. So I have no idea why the name continues. Let me grab these two super chats. We'll get toxic in here. Matthew Mokeen says, also the first 380,000 years of the universe was opaque plasma without any light transmission. Yahweh didn't say, let there be opaque plasma. I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
I will say, Justin, I don't think that you've seen Toxic Misogynist on a panel of women, because that was...
Oh, no. I haven't.
Yeah.
So the
We'll
name
see.
might be real.
We shall see how things happen.
I was hoping the name was ironic. Unfortunately, it might be real. Russell says, also the number of non-human organisms on this planet, even particularly organisms who form attachments and have experiences, vastly outnumber humans. And Yeah, that seems to be the case. In fact, just like the number of bacteria in our gut like outnumber the human race, right?
Um, I don't think outnumber the human race, but I would say
Mm,
that they're a lot. Or
okay. Okay.
actually, no. That probably does outnumber the human race.
There's a lot,
Yeah, now
right?
that I think, yeah, it probably does. Because,
It's like
like, I was
billions and
thinking in
billions, isn't it?
yeah, no, there's like trillions of cells in the human body, so yeah,
It's a
that's
lot.
actually very possible. Yeah, I could see that being possible.
Well, we do got Toxic in the queue, and actually we got two more guests in the queue now. So we'll see if we can get to perhaps even a couple of them here. Welcome in, Toxic. I already know you're at least 18 because we've talked before, but I forget your religion. Can you refresh me?
Yeah, my religion is Christian Catholic.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or
And
yeah.
did you have an argument that you wanted to run by us?
Oh yeah, I have evidence I want to run by you guys. I think
Sure.
Spencer's already seen it. I want to run evidence by you guys for a miracle that happened, and
Okay.
just to see if you guys want to work with it.
Sure.
So yeah, like recently I went to a prayer conference where a woman got healed to be able to walk from a wheelchair. And I was surprised, so I just kind of took a picture of it and caught it on camera. And I can also verify it by social media posts that the pastor posted on it as well too. And then I'll see what you guys think about it to prove that God is real.
Wait, what's the
Let
nature
me
of
get
this
it real quick.
conference?
It was a prayer conference, they hold it at a church and go get prayed. Yeah.
A prayer
Yeah.
conference.
I mean,
are there like news stories about this?
I mean, it's the
I would
pastor
ask.
holding it for her ministry.
So you've been on a live with me multiple times on this particular topic, and I've heard
Mm-hmm.
this story over and over again. So this is not the first time I've heard your miracle story. And
Yeah, but
I'm
it's
just
first
going to
time for
ask
Ian
this.
and.
No. I'm going to ask this for the sake of the audience. So I know that you've already answered this question from me before, but I'll ask again. Do you have a DOI for the case report number for this individual? Because if they were healed in such a miraculous way, there would be a case report number from the doctors overseeing this instance.
I don't know him personally, so no, I wouldn't have that. I just saw a miracle happen, took a picture of it to make sure no one will say it didn't happen, and I'm here to present to you. So you can
Well,
search it
that's
if you
the
want to.
point. Is that it didn't actually happen.
Like, couldn't this be staged?
I mean, you don't know that because
there's like good reason for Catholics to want to do this. I mean, it's good for evangelism. I mean, it's also a culture that's like full of people who think that miracles happen to them.
Well, I mean, since you can't confirm that, you have to essentially go by evidence, right? I mean, like,
Well,
I'm here to
what I
present
can do
evidence
is
that
give
God
you
is
an
real.
argument for why God couldn't do this. I mean, you're Catholic, which means that you hold to the doctrine of divine simplicity. But the simple God can't take intentional actions because that would require a separation between the intention and the action. So God, like whatever healed this person, it's not God.
I mean, when you pray and call upon the name of Jesus Christ, I'm sure you're praying to God, right? I mean, am I calling on the name of Beelzebub or Moloch?
I just want you to reject like a premise there. Would you affirm that God is divinely simple?
What do you mean by divinely simple?
That God lacks parts, that he's not composite.
And so he's immaterial?
More than that he doesn't have any distinctions in him.
No, I believe he does have certain distinctions. Like, for example, I believe he's, special being, he's male, or that kind of distinction in terms of, his identity of a male spiritual being.
Like distinctions like internal to him. Like he doesn't have separate internal, like intrinsic properties.
Okay. Here's the picture. Let me see if I can actually.
Do you want to engage with the question or?
Oh, so, I mean, I was gonna first focus on my evidence, and we can it's more easier.
Yeah. So again, pictures can be doctored. Also, people can fake things. If I were to tell you that I saw a flying Pegasus go out my window just now, and then I showed you an AI photo of a Pegasus outside my window, that's not stronger evidence for a Pegasus outside my window.
That's just a photo
Yeah, but
that
this
I
is
took.
like on my phone.
Verifiable.
It's like
That's not
it's a good
verifiable.
person on my phone, and I had the social media post. The social media
Not
post to confirm it
verifiable.
too.
Again, not
Oh
verifiable.
yeah, it is verifiable because I can find a social media post from the pastor that performed it to verify it actually
But there's
happened.
not a peer-reviewed report. But there's not a peer-reviewed case report or a medical document. That's what I'm asking for.
I mean, that doesn't negate it. Just because I couldn't have it doesn't mean it didn't
Yes.
happen. That's what you want. You can seek the people
Well,
yourself
it
and find
lowers the
it. But
probability
yeah,
that it
let me show
happened.
it. So
So
here it
again,
is. It happened.
same.
It happened while I was
So
then had prayer conference. Here it is. Let me see if I can zoom in closer on it.
this is the exact
Yeah.
same thing that I
So
said last time, where this does
I'm
not
here to
actually
present
provide.
evidence. Like I said, I'm
It's
here to
not
present
evidence.
evidence. It is literally pictures I took on my phone when I was there in that moment exactly. So this isn't something I
Again,
doctored
not
up. So here's the woman being prayed over. Let me zoom in. Hope I can. So that's the pastor right there praying over the woman for her to herself to get healed, and then because she had
Yeah, but
difficulty walking, she was
the problem that you have is you don't know any of this wasn't staged. So there's a faith healer of
I mean,
Charlottetown, really, named Catherine Kirk, right? She's made her fame on TikTok doing like fake faith healing type of videos. She's supposedly a pastor. But anyone who watches her content long enough will realize that she keeps healing the same people over and over again of multiple illnesses because they're all just paid actors. And the reality is, I was in a faith tradition for a long time that believed in this type of faith healing, and I've personally witnessed pastors doing fake healings myself, right? So, what we're suggesting is, given the prevalence of the amount of fake healings, like people pretending to be in wheelchairs, or the number of people that are healed momentarily because they've got a rush of endorphins and adrenaline going on, and that they can get out of their wheelchair for moments, but then the next day they're back in their wheelchair. Because of that, whatever you're about to show us on your phone is basically irrelevant.
I mean, but you don't know that, so it's not relevant. It's just we just can't confirm it, but we have evidence. It's just that there's some things you want to
No,
confirm is not there, but
this
it's still
isn't
evidence. You just
this
it's still
again
evidence.
is
You
not
just
evidence. Again, it's not actual evidence. So evidence would be a medical document, a case report, or something that would confirm that this is not just first of all, a pick and choosing. So there's this thing where you have like a selection bias, and this is something that we strive to eliminate in research. And this is also something that occurs with a lot of gimmicks and particularly like neurological and cancer disorders, or cancer specifically. So neurological disorders and cancer, where you pick and choose the people who are more likely to do well. So whether it be somebody who has maybe a peripheral nerve injury rather than a central nerve injury, so they have an issue with a nerve, like let's say a branch of their sciatic nerve, that a branch off of their sciatic nerve rather than their spinal cord. An injury to that nerve is more likely to heal than, let's say, a complete division of the spinal cord. And so, regardless of what you want to say, if you're picking and choosing which people you're looking at and choosing to quote unquote heal, then you're more likely to quote unquote heal these people, not because it's faith or because it's some magic going on, but because you picked and choose the people that are more likely to actually get better. And that's another part, which is why I'm asking for the medical history as well as a case report, because we want to confirm that this was actually something that couldn't have been healed on its own naturally or in any sort of way. A partial injury to your spinal cord is very different from a full injury, and so you kind of have to
I mean,
provide us with the medical
if you want
documents.
to, here's the Instagram of the pastor who performed the miracle, and she posted on her Instagram
So
page. You can
again,
reach out to her and reach out to the so you can reach out to the patients if you want to. I'm just
so
here to give
you're
you
the one.
sources so you can confirm yourself.
This isn't sources. This is just a person. I'm asking for the medical
Yeah, a
documents. And
person is
by
a
the way,
source.
the asking would violate HIPAA. She would have to be the one, that woman would have to be the one to come to either a scientist or a doctor and say, hey, I want you to write this case report on me, because that would violate HIPAA. So
Okay, so you want me to violate HIPAA by getting her information, unless she gives it
no,
to me voluntarily.
that's why I asked for a case report or some kind of voluntary
medical document that she has published. So you can't take a photo of your own medical documents and post them online. You do realize that, right? So like if you had her like and she decided, "Hey, I want to share my story." She took a photo of her medical document and posted her medical document online. That's okay. And then you could show that rather than some random photo that could have been AI doctored.
I mean, but snitch, I'm giving you, if you want to confirm for yourself,
That is
here's
not
the
evidence.
sources you can
So
do to.
Wait,
again,
I'm asking you to confirm
I'm so
yourself.
sorry. I'm so sorry. Wait, toxic misogynist. You know, I've had to wear these glasses my entire life. You know, I have horrible vision. My vision's awful. I'm gonna sacrifice a goat to Ganesh now, and praying and hopes that Ganesh will cure my blindness. Okay, here I go. I'm gonna sacrifice the goat now.
Oh
Whoa, it's
no,
a
the
miracle. It
goat.
worked. I don't need the glasses anymore. I'm saved. Whoa, Ganesh saved me.
Oh
I guess Hinduism
yes,
is true now. So, sure, we all
yes.
just saw this miracle that confirms the truth of like Hinduism.
Yeah,
You see how
I mean,
you
and
see how
that's fine, right?
like absolutely like stupid that was?
No, I mean, because I'm giving you sources you confirm for yourself. You said God's
no,
not real. I present
Yeah, wait,
evidence
you
to
just
show
saw
God is
it. Wait,
real.
you just saw Ganesh cure me of my blindness.
I didn't see Ganesh. You just kind of just went off
I
screen.
didn't see
I have a
God in that
picture.
one. Wait, did I see is God in yours?
Oh yeah, I mean, God's in the miracle that happened. Yeah.
No,
Yo,
Ganesh
sure, and
did.
Ganesh is the miracle that happened just now.
Yeah, and if you want to, I can ask you, hey, can you see? Let me ask you now. Can you see better now because of
Yeah,
Ganesh
I
and all
can see
that?
perfectly. Yeah, I have like
Okay,
40/20
perfect. Then that
vision
means that
now.
mine is real too. Hey, I believe
No, it
that too, and I
isn't.
believe mine is
Because
real.
if Ganesh is real, then yours is fake.
No, I mean, because we pray to one God. We pray to God and God healed. So if I
We
call
prayed to,
Christ,
oh, I didn't pray to your
Christ,
God. I prayed to Ganesh.
yeah. Well, I mean, I guess Ganesh is real to you, right? But you said God's real, not Ganesh. So I provide proof that God is real.
Catholic
So
says
yeah,
Ganesh is real.
I mean, you pray to Ganesh. I'm just saying God's real. So my goals prove God is real. Everything else you
You
prove is
probably
on you.
gotta say like 20 Hail Marys or something if you're saying Ganesh is real.
Hey, I'm saying is that I got evidence here. So it's up to you to accept it or not. But I just proved that God's real
don't
here in this evidence.
You certainly didn't prove it.
it is not
I mean, I have
evidence.
it here, and even the Instagram post to confirm it. So, I mean, but if you want anything further, you guys can find out for yourself. But I've done my part. The proof of burden, I've already done my proof of burden to present
You
it on
you
two
didn't
different
meet
sources
you didn't meet any burden. What you did is you showed us a social media post and claimed
and
that
a personal picture.
the story behind it must be true.
I mean, it's true because I took a picture and my personal phone, my own personal phone, and I
Yeah,
confirmed it with a social media post.
you took a picture of a hoax. You fell for it. Congrats.
No, not necessarily. Like I said, you can't prove that. So yeah,
Well,
you have to accept it because you can't just prove it.
it's
You
actually
technically have to
your
accept
job
it
to
because you can't
demonstrate
just
that it
prove it.
wasn't a hoax, right? Because if you're saying
I mean,
no,
I
this is a
did.
real
I
thing
took a
that
picture.
happened, if you're saying it's a real thing
Mhm.
that happened, just taking a picture of what you think happened isn't
I mean,
what actually
here's a video of
happened.
it too. Here's a
Yeah,
video
I
of it too,
know.
right here.
Did you and did you
Let
hear
me
what we already
raise the
did you hear what
volume.
we already said about it or no?
I mean,
Also,
I heard about you. Here's the video evidence as well. If you think it's just a hoax, so we
Yeah,
before
got
you
both
go,
options.
that's what I said. It's a hoax. I've seen many of them.
but before you go on, I also just wanted to mention, like, you personally, you are not bound by HIPAA. The doctors in charge of her are. And like I'm not like a legal expert or anything like that. So like confidentiality is like a thing, I think. So like she would be the one who would be saying, "Hey, this is my story. Here are like all my medical documents as proof." Like that is much stronger evidence than some random video on Instagram. Like I just don't
No, I mean, like I have a
like
picture
when
of
I ask
myself to
you to
confirm it, but like
lie,
I was there personally.
You
I
being
don't
there,
care if you
It's not as if I'm like,
yeah, you being there doesn't mean that the event is what you think it is.
but you not being there means it wasn't as well because you weren't there. So you can't even say that
Well,
it wasn't what it was because you weren't there.
well, what I'm saying is your claim is not verifiable. It's just what you think happened. And if you're saying that it is proof, then you need more evidence to say that it's good proof. What it's proof of is that you
So
went to a
do you
thing.
want?
What it's proof of is that you went to a thing, you got your camera out, and you recorded a thing. What it's not proof of is that you witnessed a genuine healing.
But how is it not proof? I mean, do you want me to say that this? So to say that's if I didn't take pictures or even record a video of it, could I even show that it was proof? Then I mean, do you want me to say by words?
But
Do
what I'm
you
saying
want?
is your video is not proof of what you think happened in the video.
So if
that's why
like so, but it doesn't make sense. In a court of law, I mean, video. I mean, you want your evidences, and that's fine. But just because of what you guys desire as proof doesn't make sense. You didn't ask what.
In medicine and science, we ask for DOIs and peer-reviewed literature. We don't ask for just random videos. So this isn't like a.
But miracles go against science, though.
This miracle is in medicine.
It won't be a miracle.
Well, wait, but you'd still have like the scientific documentation.
Yeah, that's what we're asking for.
Yeah, but since I can't provide it, technically, unless you can seek it for yourself. I've already provided evidence of a miracle.
Well,
now you want to confirm
it's so interesting, right? Because we actually just like disproved Catholicism because you admitted that Ganesh exists, and if Ganesh exists, then Catholicism is false because it says that there aren't gods other than yours.
We're just doing hypothetical
so
in that case.
That your own religion is false.
We're just playing around that one. We're doing hypothetical. So, but both of us.
Wait. Do you think that Catholicism is compatible with the existence of Ganesh?
I mean, Ganesh is probably a pagan god or something like that. I mean, that doesn't disprove the Catholicism. Catholicism is based on God.
So you do think that there are more gods than the one God?
That's what proves
believe in more than one God. So you do believe in more than one God.
There's different there's different like
then you
gods
reject
with like the lower
Catholic
G. Even Papa Bench is like there's lower G gods like Beelzebub. No. There's the one God, and then there's small gods like
you just
Beelzebub,
said that you
Moloch,
reject the Catholic creed.
Those are all small gods. Not.
What's a small?
No,
god?
I didn't. I never said that. So, like I said, we were just having a. Yeah, like Beelzebub.
Wait,
Moloch,
you just said that there's more than one
Baal,
God. So you reject
Satan,
you reject the Nicene Creed, which says that we believe in one God, the Father Almighty, Maker of heaven and earth. You reject that. You think that there are at least two gods.
Yeah, we believe in
Father, the God Almighty, and Ganesh.
Yeah. No, but we never said there wasn't any God. We said we believe in the one God, the Father Almighty. We never said there was no other gods in the creed. So, like I said, that's not.
It says that you believe in one God. If you believe in two gods, then you don't believe in one God.
We believe in the one God.
This is like trivial.
Yeah, we believe in the one God.
It doesn't say the one God. You don't know your own documents. It says we believe in one God.
Literally, yeah, which
it
is
says we believe in one God. It's the Nicene Creed. Anyone can look it up.
I know. It never says there's no other gods. It just says we believe in one God.
It says we believe in one God.
Yeah, we believe in one God.
But
if you believe in one God, do you believe in two gods?
Yeah.
If you believe in one God, do you believe in two gods?
Yeah, we don't believe in two gods. Yeah, because we only follow one God.
Just answer the question.
Yeah, but
if you believe in one God, do you believe in multiple gods? Okay, I take that as a reductio that you think like one is two.
No, I just said that we believe in one God, the Father Almighty. But it didn't say that there's no other gods that are real. There's no, I mean, like,
and Ganesh, right? Don't forget about Ganesh. You also believe in Ganesh.
No, we don't believe in Ganesh. It says we believe in one God, and it specifically says which God it was.
You just said that you believed in Ganesh.
No, I didn't say I believe in Ganesh. I said you believe in Ganesh because you pray to him. I just said I believe in God.
Wait, everyone heard it. Literally, everyone heard you say it. You can see
I didn't.
I
know my words.
You can't unsay the
we can go back the video, and I know
it's all recorded.
I didn't say
it's literally on recording.
We can go back on it right now.
You were forced to concede that Ganesh exists.
I'm ready to go back on it.
And now you're trying to walk it back.
I never said.
You did. Everyone heard it.
Bring up the recording. Bring up the recording. I know I didn't say that.
Literally, everyone heard it.
I'm not worried about what I said.
Brutal.
No, I didn't. Bring up the recording right now.
I'm also, you said not like 30 seconds ago when confronted with this one, you said, well, yeah, you do believe in Ganesh. You believe in one primary God and lots of secondary gods. No, you do. You said it. It's all recorded.
No. Hey, either way, this is a small tangent. Either way, I've already proven evidence that God is real, and you guys have no other evidence proof you didn't.
Would you swear? Would you be willing to swear on the Bible that you didn't say that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like,
okay,
I'm confident.
Yeah, then say it. Say that you swear on the Bible that you never.
We don't.
Insinuated that Ganesh exists. I'm not gonna swear
use God's name in vain in that way. But I will say that
you're lying.
I provided that truth that God is real, and or at least my God is real. Because we prayed to him and he healed the woman.
You
guys don't have to believe it, but I did that, but you guys don't accept it. That's fine.
You
That's fine.
provided evidence.
Nobody else on this has ever brought any
that you
evidence. I brought
believe
physical evidence, and I'm happy.
but you didn't.
I literally
You brought
did. Actually,
evidence
3.
that you believe somebody was healed. You didn't bring evidence that the person was healed.
Oh, I did. I actually, I pictured the woman afterwards carrying her wheelchair. Like,
what?
let me show you right now. Then, like,
what's the
see,
what's the
you
evidence?
guys don't care about evidence.
What's the evidence that she needed the wheelchair in the first place?
Carrying
Because
her fucking
before
wheelchair,
then,
she hasn't used her legs in years. Her legs are like atrophied. What do you mean she's carrying her wheelchair?
I know that's why it's a miracle. That's why it's a miracle, because you prayed for her and then she was able to walk on her own.
I need you to stop talking over people, so that way people can actually hear what other people are saying and we can actually have a conversation that is a little bit linear than whatever this is. But as far as like the woman goes, based off of that photo, just by looking, I can tell you right now that she had not been atrophied and in a wheelchair for many years. Maybe she was using the wheelchair like some of the people who I know with HEDS were using wheelchairs because their knees snap backwards or some other kind of issue with their legs. It's a little bit more difficult to walk. That doesn't mean they can't walk.
But you're doing all this on presumption, because I was actually there. I can say I saw her have to have her husband push her in the wheelchair.
What you saw.
You're presuming, and you're sticking with your presumption.
No, I care what is peer-reviewed, and you're making a medical claim, and yet you're not providing any DOI or peer-reviewed case report that affirms that claim. So when I ask you for a DOI, you still have yet to provide it. You don't have it.
You can get it yourself. The question is, Niche, do you want to confirm yourself? It's up to you. Do you want to confirm yourself?
You're the one
you don't have to confirm
who put the burden of proof on yourself, and now it is still up to you to provide that proof, which you have yet to provide.
I have provided for literally 2 of my photo, the post of the pastor, and the video of the miracle. So at this point, you guys don't really want evidence that God is real, because clearly no one else has brought what I brought up here before.
Well, what we're suggesting is that your evidence isn't good. That's all we're saying. You don't have good evidence because
it's still evidence.
Because it's not evidence, right? So if I said there's evidence that groups of people have been taken on UFOs and probed on UFOs just because groups of people have claimed to do so and even taken pictures of UFOs, does that mean that UFOs are sucking people up with beams of light and probing them?
I mean, if they can prove it, yeah.
How could they possibly prove it?
And that's, I guess, however they want to prove it. You can ask them, hey, where is the evidence of these folks? I mean,
there you go.
Do we see any?
Where's the evidence that the thing you witnessed is actually that, which is what we're asking for you. You're saying that you witnessed a miracle.
I literally
and what we're saying is what you recorded isn't an actual miracle. You need to go further than saying, look, there's a woman in a wheelchair who got out of wheelchair, therefore it's a miracle. You don't know who the woman is. You don't know if she was actually paralyzed. You don't know if she even needed that wheelchair. You don't know if the next day she was back in that wheelchair just because she had a burst of adrenaline. You don't know any of those things, right? So what you know...
I do know because I was there.
What you know
That's
is
what I'm saying.
Saw,
how you tell me I don't know because I was there?
What you know is you saw a woman get out of a wheelchair. That's what you know. That's it.
No, I saw the woman herself before then.
So what?
Wait, no,
before then, I saw her husband. Her husband was moving her around in a wheelchair.
I'm
sure. Taking to the restroom in a wheelchair.
I'm sure.
Wait. I can clear this up. Toxic. What was the condition she had?
Oh, she didn't. She didn't tell her conditions. Oh, brutal. I guess once she gave her testimony, she said that she herself just had weakness in her legs.
What was her condition? What was her condition?
I don't know her specific condition because that's HIPAA laws. That's a HIPAA law. She has to. She has to give consent for that.
Not a HIPAA violation.
It is under HIPAA, actually.
No, well, watch me violate HIPAA. I have ADHD. I just violated HIPAA.
Oh no!
No, but you gave it.
They're coming for you now.
I don't know because that's her to give it up. She didn't give it up. So I mean,
Justin could have told you that fact, and it still wouldn't have violated HIPAA. Like obviously,
Justin gave it voluntarily.
Another doctor. You are not a doctor. I can assure you that. So you're not a doctor.
I'll have to go to doctors to get her information, right? No, if she gives it freely, then that's a whole different story. She didn't give it freely, so I mean, unless
did she tell you what she had? Wait, did she tell you her condition?
I mean, you were there.
No,
you should know.
I just saw her condition in that moment. She didn't want to know because that's a personal thing.
So you don't know what her condition is.
Nope, I just saw her herself on a wheelchair, and whenever she went to stand up, her husband had to literally carry her up. Her husband had to literally carry her and hold her while
But
so
but
she can
again,
even stand up.
But again, you don't know
Yeah,
if any of
so
that's real or pretend. That's what we're trying to say. You don't know if any of this is for show. You don't know if this is real. I've been to actual healing campaigns where I know people have been paid to do this. What I'm telling you
yeah,
is that people fake this stuff all the time. They've been caught faking it all the time. James Randi made a
it,
name for himself way back in the 80s outing these people. So, my point is very clear. You don't know if these people are legitimately who they're claiming to be. You're assuming they
it,
are because you want the story to be true.
well, I mean, I was there, saw it firsthand, so I saw how they were, and I took a
Also,
picture
You
of it. You,
you
you
didn't,
and I can make the argument that
but
it was
you
real
don't
because I
know
was
what you
there and I
saw.
saw
But
it
you don't
first
know what you
person.
saw. It
You
doesn't matter
weren't
what.
there,
It doesn't matter if
but
you
you
were
guys
there.
are
You
going off
don't
on your
know what
presumption
you
because you
saw.
weren't there.
Toxic. Toxic. You don't
I
know
do know
what you
what I
saw.
saw
That's the
because I
point.
was
No, you
there.
don't.
No, no,
You
no,
don't.
I know I
You
saw
don't.
because I
You
was there.
don't know
Wait,
if they're actors or not. You have no idea.
wait, easy question. What's
I
her
know, but
name?
you guys don't know as well.
Wait. What's
I
her
don't know her
name?
personal information. Let
You
me
don't know
check on the
it.
Instagram page.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I was
please.
a bystander. I just literally took a picture of what's going on because I want
So
to
you
make
don't
sure
know
no
what
one
you
says
don't
nothing
actually know what you
happened.
saw is what it sounds like.
But
No, I know what I
also,
saw
just so
because
you
I was
know,
there the whole time, and I took a picture of it to make sure. So I know what I saw. I don't know who
also,
they are, but I know what I saw, and
you
even
don't.
have the video
just
to
so you
prove it too.
this is
Like here,
actually
I guess I have the
literally
video
my
right here to prove it too.
Go
with
ahead, Ella.
with specifically, yeah. So muscle weakness is actually part of my field of study as I'm participating in research on cachexia. Now, one of the most common conditions that affect older individuals who have like leg weakness is sarcopenia and myostenosis, which affects up to 50% of all older adults, which she looks to be on the older side. So and myostenosis and sarcopenia don't make it impossible for you to walk. You can still walk. So that's not a miracle healing. That's just her standing up.
Yeah.
All I know
Yeah.
is that hey,
Happens all the
that's
time.
evidence of miracle. You guys can't prove it, and that's we're good here. We're good here though.
I
So
So
accept your
I've
you,
done
surrender,
much
dude.
more.
You got like
Anybody
genuinely
else has
folded.
done?
Wait.
yeah.
Quick question. Quick question before you run, before you like sprint away. Do you affirm or deny the fourth Lateran Council?
Um, So I'll be
You don't
honest
even know
with
what
you.
that is,
I
do
don't believe for
you?
yeah, no, I don't. I'm just a basic Catholic.
Okay, yeah, you don't know
I
the
mean,
first thing about your own religion, clearly. Sure, that's fine.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried about it. I mean, because I
You're
just
not worried
went to a Catholic.
about like Catholic dogma? You don't care?
No, because I hang out with a Protestant churches a lot. I go to like Pentecostal churches, so I don't really care. I'm just Catholic, because I was born Catholic, and I
Yo,
just
this guy's not gonna
became.
escape the eternal conscious torment.
No, he's
Well,
going to sit
I'm
through
not
hell.
having eternal conscience. Wait, what's the eternal conscience torment?
You would know if you were Catholic.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, but I'm not that serious. I just got
Uh,
confirmed. I just
sure.
went to Catholic school, got confirmed, and then call it a day in that case.
That's unfortunate.
So
Well,
I'm not
listen,
worried about.
Toxic.
Yeah,
We're 7 minutes past our end time. We've got some super chats to read, so we gotta cut this short. But thanks for stopping by and showing us your
no
your
problem, guys.
video.
No problem. I'm glad you guys. It was.
Well, that was something.
Sure was. Could you imagine at the prayer conference if they like bring the wheelchair lady out and then she doesn't stand up?
So
I would love.
these.
Sorry, go
Oh, you're
ahead.
okay. You're okay. I was gonna say, these tricks happen at all the healing conferences. I have known people that put these conferences on. They're not. People are just getting duped. What are you gonna say, Ella?
I was just about to say I would have loved to see like either some ALS patient or something like that come into these conferences because that would be a huge wake up call.
True. Yeah.
That'd be great evidence.
Or better yet, if the pastor's so powerful, send him to the hospital. Get him over to St. Jude. Let's clean him out. Let's go. Nicola, thank you for the super chat. Friend says God hurt Job a lot. Why? Why he should care for Prof? Care for. That's a tough. I'm not sure what you're asking there, Nicola. But God fucked up Job. We agree on that. Why should Job still worship Yahweh? He shouldn't. I would have been that fool, like his wife suggested. Ian, the cake is a lie, is what I'm told.
No.
And from Robbie says, an empty fridge is not evidence of a full fridge. That's
think this
true.
is with respect to the contingency argument. Yeah, although I think there probably must be like something that doesn't like depend on anything further. It would be weird if there was like an infinite regress of specifically like metaphysical chains as opposed to like causal ones.
And from Pressure, hey, thank you for the $1 poop emoji. And Chris, thank you for the super chat. John was written around 95. John wrote it at 90 plus. So this is the other problem. Yeah, if you agree with the academic dating of the Gospel of John, written around 90, it's weird that John is now writing, in his 90s. In fact, church history didn't always attribute it to John either. A lot of them thought this was John the Elder, which would have been a different John. So, is what it is. Christopher says, I got to deal with this, meaning his own ignorance. Yeah, and it's a thick dealing too. From I want to see the Long Hunter. Lindsey Graham passed away. Proverbs 21:10. Actually, I don't recall Proverbs 21:10. Let me grab that one. But Lindsey Graham passed away like kind of suddenly, actually. Oh, the wicked crave evil; their neighbors get no mercy for them. Poor Lindsay. No, there's no poor Lindsay. I don't think he contributed a whole lot to the world. Simeon Urchin says Snitch got the lithium supplies on lockdown. Is that what's going on back there?
Oh, it's just a pre-workout. I'm still trying to get rid of my stock because I'm incredibly lazy, and I guess that's being too harsh. I'm not incredibly lazy. I'm just overworked.
So yeah, it's not like you have anything else going on. Coffee Mom says incremental change over billions of years is greater than God. I mean, better explanation, I would say. And Timothy says, I think we need Ella as a permanent fourth member. Hear, hear. Ella is always a good addition. That's why she's on so many live streams here on TikTok and popping up on YouTube as well. Bill Ashby, thank you for the super chat. W. Alex Malpass for all things infinity and beyond. Is there an Alex Malpass video on this?
Alex Malpass is the GOAT. There are several Alex Malpass papers on this. I don't watch his videos very much. Weirdly enough, he does hang out. On occasion, you can find him in like random Discord servers, just hanging out.
Oh shit! I'll have to check him out. I've only seen a couple videos. And from Grumpy Butterfly, thank you for the $10 super chat. Listening while recuperating from heart surgery. Well, I hope you're doing all right. My heart is now connected to Bluetooth. No fucking way. Praise science. Snitch is an excellent addition to the panel. Of course, Snitch is. And yeah, huge W to science. I can't wait to see what. Well, I would love to see what science is doing 500 years from now, but I won't be able to see that, unfortunately. Tracy, good to see your friend. Says, Justin, I think you wearing any sort of shirt is extremely homophobic. Rock hard for Doug, simply for Sharon, gay for Justin, choking on Ian's hog, and hi, Snitch. I'm sorry, Tracy. I'm terribly sorry. And Shirley's here. Good to see you, Shirley. Says, W Scientific Snitch. I'm a big Blitz fan, but enjoying the evolution discussion. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. It's a field that Blitz and Ian and I we can't really cover. We don't have the expertise, so happy to have Snitch.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I highly recommend everybody go read the Spud Cell preprint. It's very long, but it's actually quite readable for a layman. It's not too jargon filled, and it's really cool.
Oh shit! All right.
Sounds interesting.
I love a good recommendation. Roy, thank you for the $3. Super Kitty, very cute. And Man's Lady says nothing tastes good as Roast Believer. Thanks for the live. Listen, we're glad we can give you some barbecue, friend. And the Big Cheese coming in again says transcendental argument fails because it discounts sense data, but asserts divine revelation as the source of truth. When pressed, theists can't describe experiencing the Holy Spirit without sensory data and euphoria.
Yeah,
so
that's
yeah.
No, wait, Justin, you say what you were gonna say.
I was say they totally their only experience with God is relying on sense data. So totally.
Yep. Well, yeah, there's kind of like a double bind. Either you think that either you're what's called like an externalist about epistemology, or you're an internalist. Externalism holds that Okay, wait. I think internalism is probably easier, where it's like, okay, you do need to have like the specific justification on hand. Like you need to be able to like basically like repeat it almost in order to be justified in your beliefs. Whereas externalism is fine saying like your whether or not you have knowledge is like it can be contingent on like these like external factors. Like you can leave all of your knowledge claims as like an if my senses are accurate, then I know all of these things. But okay, if they're an externalist about it, then I mean the naturalist can be an externalist about it and say that evolution produced your reliable senses, and that's how you know things. In the same way, they want to say, well, God produced their reliable senses. And if they're like an internalist and they're like, well, how do you know anything? How do you know that? How do you know that? How do you know that? Well, they're gonna need to give this justification too, because they use their eyes to read the fucking Bible. Their eyes need to work before they even read their shitty argument off to you. So
Right.
I don't know. There's just like a clear parity either way.
By the way, I just wanted to mention, so the person that toxic misogynist was talking about, apparently somebody in the chat ended up finding her, and found out that she had rheumatoid arthritis. Now, I just wanted to read this one quote. So, and I quote, spontaneous remission of rheumatoid arthritis, which is what the study is about, is not uncommon in patients who present with very early arthritis, some of whom may meet the criteria for rheumatoid arthritis over less than a few months. PMID for that is 206-97983. So
There you go. Arthritis isn't shocking to me that she was able to get out of the wheelchair for a period of time. So not shocked at all there. From Prince says Justin read immortal as immoral in my super chat. I'm sorry, Prince. You know sometimes I do that. That's on me. Tisk tisk tisk. I'll have to work on that. On my reading comprehension. I apologize. I went to a Catholic school. I barely learned how to read. And Base Share says another day, another person misunderstanding HIPAA. Yeah, isn't that wild?
Yeah. When the
We're,
officer's asking me for my name, but I can't give it to him because it violates HIPAA.
I literally just brought that up for the case report thing because, like, if a doctor were to write a case report, they would have to get consent from the patient. But, like, that had nothing to do with him disclosing the information.
Yeah.
And from Slow TDI, Toxic has been told before what we would need. He's just too lazy to actually do the work to get the medical documents. He knows he's full of shit. Well, it's weird. I suspect people like Toxic just can't accept the truth, and they think eventually, if I keep saying it, some people, even if the hosts don't agree, will agree with me. But I don't think anyone here is going to find that convincing, even the believers. Matt says, "How can Ian do that sacrifice when he's the goat himself?" Bias.
Yeah, I'm the goat, and I share an essence with the goat, and I'm actually not the goat at all. And I sacrificed the goat to Ganesh, who is also me.
Obviously. And the Night Should Say says, "Don't watch Benny Hinn. Put your hands on the screen." You know what? I've seen some fucking Benny Hinn before. And if I could heal people by hitting them with my suit jacket, I would do that. Unfortunately, it's not real. Although, if you want to see the best clip of Benny Hinn like healing people, just put in Benny Hinn, let the bodies hit the floor, and you'll find a good remix. Kurt says, "This is very compelling. I think toxic misogynists may have convinced me Yahweh is real. Jesus? I don't know. I think we got some more work to do." Well, Kurt, fuck, we got somebody. We lost one. The atheist community is one member less now. And Knight says, "God will heal you. Call now with your credit card." Obviously. Obviously. Or if you're Catherine Kirk, just send TikTok gifts. Nightman comes and says, "Toxic misogynist reminds me of Jamal for Jesus." Oh, true. Who ironically also is a toxic misogynist and possibly a pedophile. That's another
True.
thing.
What an old throwback. I wonder what that guy's up to.
I have a video clip of him from like 2.5 years ago when we talked. I never published, of him essentially nearly admitting that his girlfriend was underage when they started seeing each other.
Jesus.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, there's like an entire panel. Wait, he was leading the youth group?
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's disgusting.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But Here we are. Matthew Mulkeen, thank you for the super chat, friend. It says male circumcision benefits outweigh risks for prevention of urinary tract infections, penile cancer, and transmission of some sexually transmitted infections, including HIV, from the American Academy of Pediatric 2021 policy statement. There is a follow up. Hold on. Actually, it's a duplicate. It's the same super chat. And I've heard this before, but I think more recent documentation would disagree. Snitch, what do you think?
Let's see.
I'm gonna chop off my arm too. It lowers the risk of arm cancer.
We just got another violation for body exposure and sexualized behaviors. I assume it's because we're talking about STDs, HIV, and circumcision.
Benefits outweigh the risks.
Risks
Something about that doesn't click. Let me see if I can look this up, because I remember seeing some studies that say the complete opposite.
Yeah, in fact, last time I had this discussion with a believer, I forget who was on the panel with us. We actually did pull up some more recent studies that said actually not so much the case, because the previous studies that were done improperly, and I can't remember all the details now. I'll have to figure that where that was. Let's see.
Well,
Okay,
like
so
literally all of this could be true, and it's like that's still not a reason. Like if you don't know how to like wear a condom properly to like reduce the risk of these various infections, like if you don't know how to like clean yourself, then maybe you should get like adult circumcised because you're like so like grossly incompetent. But as for the rest of us, I don't know, just teach your kids like wear a condom and clean themselves.
That seems to be the right solution.
I feel like the cleaning part is what is more so the issue. Like if we just teach people to clean themselves, then it's not as much of an issue. And also, I think that the study they're referring to is from 2005. If I'm not, I am struggling to find the study that they were looking for. I found one that was by Grawal from 2005, cited 648 times. But I'm not finding the one that they're looking at. So I don't know if maybe it's the title is incomplete or
I don't know. What I'll have to look more into it. I do know that like there are children get badly infected and have died from the practice, which seems like it's not without serious risks for sure. Bryce Jordan says, "Toxic. I was there. I know what I saw. This dude doesn't know where he is right now. He's literally lost. Anyone got a bridge to sell him?" That is accurate. He was not following the conversation. And Nightman says, "I have OI, which means I'm permanent wheelchair." Wait, I have OI, which means wait, osteo. What? Shit. What's OI mean? Is that a Anyways, it's I think an ailment. I have OI, which means I am permanent wheelchair. If user funny, the faith healers in my old church want nothing to do with me. Gotcha. Nightman comes in saying he actually does have a disability, and the faith healers don't want to talk to him. Yeah, that's for good reason.
I wanted to mention I did find something on HIV. So there is a meta-analysis from 2020. And I'll just quote the meta-analysis specifically. There was no evidence of confounding nor changes in risk behavior following circumcision. In post-hoc exploratory analyses, we observed a trend of decreasing effectiveness of circumcision in cohorts with lower HIV incidence. So I just don't think that there is a lot of strong evidence to support it reduces HIV. And I think that is the most, that is probably the most, I guess, risk, like, dangerous outcome that you could potentially protect against, because UTIs and all of those other infections can be mitigated by safe schmex use as well as just cleaning yourself.
Sure. Yeah. And from hold on. Nort Floorbenson, do you agree steroids and performance enhancing drugs are underprescribed to the elderly and severely impaired? Somewhat relatedly, have you heard of the enhanced games? I feel like this is a question for Snitch.
I don't understand why you would be prescribing performance enhancing drugs to elderly and severely impaired people. You would prescribe HRT or hormone replacement therapy. I'm not a doctor, so like that's out of my ballpark, but I don't see how the current HRT recommendations and guidelines are insufficient. I also know a lot of people who are on the older side just don't like taking medication, or they're like against it. At least I've noticed that in my family. So like I don't think that they're underprescribed. I think it's a lot of people are just stubborn and ignorant towards medicine right now, and it's a little bit difficult to get people to be more, hey, if you need this medication, you should take it. Like that's my personal opinion. I also have not heard of the enhanced games.
Isn't that the one where they do like sports on steroids? I thought that was like the thing. The real peak of performance.
Yeah, half of them die of heart attacks.
Yeah, I just don't think that it's. Yeah, I'm not convinced that it's on the doctor side of things.
Right. And from Ontological Shock, I don't suspect a deity willing to damn people to hell for all eternity gives a shit about humans enough to heal them. That's a fair point. There's really no good reason. If God wanted to show that it was real, it could just do it. It didn't have to heal anybody. Or just not create the person to be that way, which is crazy. And Mike says, a common practice for faith healers to offer wheelchairs to anyone who has trouble walking at the start of the show, then heal them during the show. That is actually true. In fact, there's been follow-ups. James Randi used to talk about this. There's been follow-ups to people after these healing campaigns. They ask them questions. Hey, did you come in that wheelchair? And do you always use a wheelchair? And a lot of times they'll say no. But if you're just in the audience, it just looks like you got healed. And the person who got healed is often they would feel horrible if they said something about it during the service, so they just shut up and never mention it again. Cyber says, can we please get the entire Unapologetic crew in tank tops next week? Ian, you got a tank top? Sorry,
I'm not gonna assist you freaks in being freaks.
Sorry,
no thirst allowed. Horniness is bad.
Thirst Trap Ian won't be coming, y'all. And from Pam, thank you for the super chat. Had my leg amputated 3 years ago. I'd love Toxic to see if his magical pastor could get it to grow back. I won't hold my breath. Thanks for sticking to the tanks, Justin. Love the live today. Well, thank you, Pam. I appreciate it. And sorry to hear about your leg. If I find a pastor who's got real magical powers, I'll send him your way, and we'll see what we can do about that. Also, on Jamal from Casey, Jamal for Jesus calls in as Dave now. Wait, what? He's got
apparently Jamal for Jesus is still posting videos to this day on his YouTube channel.
Why?
I don't know who this is, but based off of everything you've said, that's crazy.
He's not a. How would you describe him? I don't even know. He's not super bright.
He's very stupid. He's kind of an idiot. He's kind of fun to debate because you like dunk the fuck out of him. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was definitely a truthful on the nose, perhaps, but yeah, he doesn't bring much to the table. Matthew says apologies, but current on the AAP website. Oh no, I get it, Matthew. There are some medical outfits I've seen run with this, the benefit discussion. I do think it's more nuanced. I'll have to look up, maybe on the deconstruction cheat sheet, I'll add some resources on the organizations who disagree with some of these findings, and we can have a wider discussion on it. Personally, I don't think, if you're washing yourself and you teach your kids how to wash themselves, I don't think that it's necessary. And Matthew says, circumcision policy statement 2021 AAP also has to do with immune cells getting infected, and you missed my super chat about who? Wait, World Health Organization? I actually don't see a super chat in here about the World Health Organization. Did it? I can do a search for it though. Give me a second. I got a filter, and my filter does include searches now. So if I just type in WHO, let me see if it comes up. I don't see a single chat from a Matthew that says WHO other than the current one in my search results. So I apologize, Matthew. Maybe something happened on the delivery. It didn't make it to to the thing. But I don't have anything for that. Let me see. Maybe you said World and World Health Organization rather than WHO. Let me type in the word World,
Dude,
and there's nothing there.
Just like fucking, if you're in a place, if you're trying to like stop the spread of HIV in a place where it's like rampant, give them condoms. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Just like teach people to wear condoms. Why are we mutilating people? There's like a way easier solution.
Also, it should be mentioned that the immune cells that you're referring to are CD4 plus T cells, which play a role, which can be protective of cancer. And according to some research, there does seem to be a protective effect of, like, it doesn't seem to be the case that there is, like, an increased or decreased risk in regards to, like, I need to dig more into it, though. I feel like there's other benefits and risks that might be involved, and I think it's important to recognize that, like, immune cells also play a role in physiology too. So, like, if the foreskin is populated with them, I don't know.
Listen,
friends-
if this like super chatter wants to have like lots of unprotected sex with people who have HIV, I don't know if that's the circumstance you find yourself in, then maybe getting circumcised would be good for you. But for the rest of us, I mean, like, why would I ever think that it's okay to mutilate my unconsenting child?
There is
Right.
some evidence to suggest that there's an increased risk of penile cancer in individuals who are circumcised, which would make sense because these are CD4 plus T cells that are enriched inside the foreskin, and they would help to protect against this type of cancer. So, like, it really just, it's not an all or nothing argument.
Yeah. And friends, that is the end of our super chats. And for those wondering about Jamal for Jesus, his page is this kind of content. What's going on with Jennifer Lawrence? Jennifer Lawrence's alter egos are likely demons. So this is the level of discourse you're going to get with Jamal for Jesus. Why Christians shouldn't do yoga? It's very profound stuff. Nevertheless, Snitch, thank you so much for joining us, especially on short notice. We really do appreciate it. We should have Blitzy back next week. We'll have to wait and see on that. And friends, thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for allowing our stream to be 45 minutes late today. That's on us. Thank you very much for that, though. We'll be back here the right time next week, and we'll do it all over again. And have a great week, friend. Make sure to support all the other streams going on today. We've got a bunch of streams, AXP, The Line. Everyone's going to be live. Make sure you're bouncing around. Make sure you follow Scientific Snitch on YouTube and on TikTok. And